All right, everybody, welcome back to the 2wentieth event featuring or celebrating the 20th anniversary of Metal Gear Solid 2. We have with us the legendary McHooper himself. I don't know why I added legendary to that, but hello, McHooper. Take it away.
こんにちは。ようこそ。ライブストリームスピードランドのクラッシュバンディキュー4炸裂マジンパワーへ。さあ始めましょうか。If you don't know what I just said, I said, hello, welcome to the speedrun live stream of Crash Bandicoot The Wrath of Cortex. This game in Japanese is called something different. It's called Crash Bandicoot 4 Explosion of Devil Spirit Power. Oh. That was a demo. It's a demo.
No, demos are fine.
But yeah, so this is the fourth mainline Crash Bandicoot platformer that was released back in 2001. It's one of the most divisive Crash games ever to be released. It's either you love it or you hate it. I personally love it. It's one of my favorite games of all time. That's why I speedrun it, of course. We have a sneak peek of one of the levels in very late in the run, actually. And unfortunately, I can't skip this demo because my controller does not let me.
What?
Yeah, my controller does not let me skip the demo. We're gonna watch Solar Bowler for a second, and then we're gonna get started. So I promise that as soon as we get to the title screen, we're actually gonna start. And I should note, time starts the moment we move Crash in the warp room, which means that once all the cutscenes are done, once everything's over with, then we start the timer.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go.
Yep, just let me know.
So we're gonna sit through about I want to say a minute of load screens before we actually get to the game, which, I mean, this is to be expected. This is the PS2 version, after all. Japanese PS2 version. So, yeah, welcome to Wrath of Cortex. As we move along, I'm going to start explaining things that might, that may need an explanation. Some things, they're very straightforward, but I'm going to try my best to inform you all of what is happening. And I'm also probably going to teach you a little bit of Japanese along the way, so get ready for that. And the first thing we're going to learn today is the loading screen. It says Orodo Chu. It just means loading in Japanese. Okay, so time starts in 3, 2, 1, go.
And we're on. So I'm going to be...
Suretiku. This is Bamboozled, the third level. And it is one of the first ball stages in the game. Now, this is called the Atmosphere, technically, but we just refer to it as the ball, because that's exactly what it is. It's a hamster ball, basically, that you roll around in. And the physics are very good. And I don't mean that ironically. I mean, they're actually very good.
So, I don't know why I introduced. I'm going to be on comms for this, assisting, because this is a long-ass run. We want to, have conversation going. I got a question right off the bat for you, if you don't mind.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, level routing has always been a thing in Crash Bandicoot.
Yes.
What kind of level order and are we going to see? What is the idea behind level routing in the 106 category?
Masks are mostly the entire reason why we route levels the way we do. So, there are some levels in this game that will take your masks, some levels do not take your masks, and there are levels that will give you a lot of masks. The important thing to know is which levels will take your masks, won't take your masks, and which levels you need one or don't. So we start off with Bamboozled because it doesn't give you a mask or it doesn't require a mask. So basically, if you enter this level with a mask, it'll treat it as if you don't have one, except it kind of does. It's a little bit confusing, but I'm not going to get into that. But anyways, we start this off because we don't need a mask, and it's also a very good level to test your analog calibration because it's just a... this is one of the few things in the game that is very, very good analog stick, because you can play this game with D-pad or analog, but analog is for the most part preferred as the control style.
I would agree with
that. If you ever play a Crash Bandicoot game, typically you play it with a D-pad because, they're designed around that. But In this game, they really wanted you to use the analog stick. The game just works better that way.
Yeah, this was, correct me if I'm wrong, this was the first Crash title on PS2, was it not?
Yes.
Yeah. So they really, at that point, would have delved into the analog, because Crash 1, 2, and 3 were originally pretty much intended for D-pad, as you mentioned there.
Exactly.
Hmm.
So what we just did is we got the box gem. So in this game, if you're not familiar with Crash, in Crash games, to get the gem, you have to break every box in a stage in the first visit.
Mhm.
And every stage in this game, at least, you can get the box gem on your first run through. There isn't a single level where you need to backtrack for a box gem.
Really? I did not know
Yes.
that. I'm
Now
so
in
used. Yeah, in earlier games, I'm used to, gem paths have boxes on them. You have to revisit them, especially Crash 3. Let's not talk about that dinosaur level. So that's really exciting to hear.
yes, Dynamite in Crash 3, where you need to get 10 relics and then you got to complete a secret path in another level, and then you got to go back to that stage, and then you got to do all the routing and stuff.
You make it sound so fun.
And after all of that, you still have to do the secret entrance into the 32nd level, which isn't really this 32nd level, it's like the 30th level. But anyways, yeah, you got to do all of that. And in a speed run, that level is probably the most interesting level in the entire run, just because of how much crap you got to do in it.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're doing here is we're getting the time trial relics. So on the second visit of every level, there's going to be a clock that we need to grab. And when you grab the clock, you need to get to the end as fast as possible, and you're going to be rewarded with a time trial relic, which you need in order to complete the game. Now, in previous Crash games, i.e. Crash 3 and CTR, you needed to get gold relics or higher in order to get the best ending. In this game, you don't need to do that. You just need to get sapphire relics, and that's it. Now, so it's very easy compared to Crash 3. At least if you're familiar with the game. If you're not familiar with the game, it gets kind of hard. But aside from that, we're going to be going for literally everything in this game. Well, I say everything, but there's like one collectible that we skip in the entire run, and it's because it doesn't really add to the percentage. And all it really does is just add like 4 seconds to the run because of a dialogue box you need to skip.
So all collectibles is just a 4 seconds slower 106%.
Max percent essentially is what I call it, because max percent is where you get every platinum relic and every power up in the game. Now, Wrath of Cortex is unique because typically after a boss fight, you are awarded a power up. And in this game, there's 6 power ups. And you might be thinking, okay, well, there's 6 bosses, right? No, there's only 5 bosses. You collect a power up via a gem path later on in the game. It's very strange, and they've never done it since because it's just weird that they did that. And also the power-up in question just does not help at all, so there's really no reason to get it in this game. It is 100% useless.
It looked like you skipped a checkpoint there, but did you just barely nudge the top of that box and it broke?
No, so let me show you something.
Yeah.
So did you see that? It went from 38 to 40.
Oh, I do see that.
So in this game, if you skip a checkpoint and then break another checkpoint later on in the stage, that checkpoint that you skip, that checkpoint that you just skipped will actually break at the same time. It is unique to Wrath of Cortex because no other Crash game does this. I think it actually helps out in the grand scheme of things because it means that you can actually skip boxes that are completely out of your way. And as long as it's not the last checkpoint in the stage, then you're fine. So what we're doing is we're on a death route. A death route in Crash games, typically, they require you to not die a single time until that point, in which case you have to do a path. In this game, they are specifically made just for color gems. And if you die at all before reaching that point, you cannot get to the death route, which means you need to reset the level. And it's a huge time loss. There's only 5 of them in the entire game, but let me tell you something. 3 of the 5 levels are very difficult because they are placed like midway to almost at the end of the stage in the later stages. Now, the first warp room has 2 death routes, which means there's 2 color gems, and they're not very difficult. I mean, I just did one. It's not really that hard. And the second one's similarly not as hard. Third, fourth, and fifth ones, yeah, they're kind of hard. So when we get there, it'll be quite an experience.
I'm thinking about from my casual days levels like Tsunami, where they decide to extend the level with a gem path, which is not quite what you were talking about, but we'll get there. Those are memories.
Tsunami is a very short level too, so it kind of needed that. Otherwise, it would just be a very, very short romp.
I agree. It is a short level. Oh, go on.
Well, no, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, so we have in chat someone talking about loadless time. Would you like to explain how timing on this game typically works? It's very unique among games, I would say.
So, Wrath of Cortex is not the only video game or speedrun that's time without loads. It's typically any game that's released on different platforms. So for this game was released for GameCube, Xbox, and PS2. And PS2 was first, Xbox was second, and GameCube was third in order of release. So, and they all have drastically different load times. The Xbox version has the shortest loads among the 3, and PS2, no matter which version you play, is always the longest. Now, if you play the Black Label, which is the first release PS2 version of this game, you're going to experience about 45 seconds of loads for every single level, and I'm not exaggerating. It's pretty bad. Now, for this, they drastically cut the load times down to about maybe 17 to 20 for each level, which it's not as bad, but it's still pretty long compared to Xbox and GameCube. GameCube, at the very least, cuts them down to about like maybe 15 at most. But if you're gonna play this game for like with short loads, you gotta get the Xbox version. That's all I can really say. But if you want to get the game, okay, so we're gonna get into it soon, but there actually is differences between the cross-console ports that we're gonna get into the further we go along, because right now we haven't really run across a whole lot. But just know that Xbox and GameCube are a little bit different from PS2 as far as the gameplay is concerned. And I say it's for the worse, but I say that, and the world record for this game is done on Xbox. I can't really say much in that regard.
Yeah, I believe the community tells you that the best version for the speedrun overall is greatest hits PS2, but if you want to go fast RTA, get yourself an Xbox copy. GameCube
Exactly.
feels like this awkward middle child that exists, but no one would recommend it unless you have to.
So what I'm doing is I'm playing the Japanese version, because the Japanese version is essentially the NTSC-U greatest hits version, except it has one major change that we're going to get into later on in the run. But for right now, I'm just going to say that this is the best version for the speedrun as far as 106 is concerned. If you're going to play any percent, get yourself a copy of Greatest Hits.
So is this another level that takes your masks? I noticed you chose to do it before doing the Relic for Arctic Antics, I think is the US name of that level?
Yes. So we're not going to do Arctic Antics yet because we don't have the speed shoes, and you get the speed shoes later on in the game, and specifically after you beat the final boss.
So typically, would you say on most of the what I'm gonna call runner levels, you're just gonna wait until you get a faster power up because you can speed it up that way?
Because you really can't like go fast in those stages. Like it's not really optimal, I should say. You can go for the relics early. I've done it before. Like I've done a run where essentially you do a Crash 3 style where we do every relic before the final boss, and you can do that. It's just not optimal because you want to go fast, and sliding around is as much as I hate to say it, sliding around is not the fastest way to move in this game.
Yeah. It is. It's
Unfortunately.
the primary form of movement. We'll see the first half though is literally just slide, slide, slide. But we were
Exactly.
talking before the run about some other movement tech. I assume you'll be showing off that other movement tech and explaining it on the levels where it's most prevalent.
Well, I'm gonna try to show that off in the next level, actually.
Awesome! I'm excited to see it.
So this is called Go Ahead Magic Castle in Japanese, but it is called Wizards and Lizards in English. This is the second level in the game, which has a death route, which means it has a color gem, the green color gem. Now, this stage is actually pretty short. It is 50% chase section, which means that we're going to be running towards the screen, and it's actually not that hard at all. The only thing that makes it difficult is not memorizing where the pits are. That's really it. So we're just going to do this intro section, and I should have actually delved into the movement a little bit more when I was doing Arctic Antics. Yeah, so the movement in this game is kind of basic, and I say that very, very, very nonchalantly, because there really isn't a whole lot of tech to this game. However, there is this new advancement that was made kind of recently, where someone figured out that if you angle yourself 45 degrees into any sort of flat wall, you'll actually accelerate. And we dubbed it wall boosting. So essentially, it takes your diagonal speed that you'd normally get from going diagonally at first, and it translates it into forward speed. So you basically go about double the speed that you would normally.
Now, another thing for those who have never played a Crash game, because at this point, Crash is, I'd say it's relatively unplayed, even with the new game coming out, which changed a lot of mechanics. There's something called a bonus path, which is pretty typical of every Crash platformer at this point. In an any percent run, you wouldn't even touch those, but in this category, those are required because they have a lot of boxes, and if you miss a box in one, as every casual Crash player can explain, enjoy resetting the level. There's no way back on a bonus path. Is that correct?
Yes. If you hit the bonus platform without getting every box, you have to reset the stage.
And I don't remember. I know Crash 3 has an issue where there is at least one bonus path that if you enter without a power-up you get later, oops, you can't do anything. Does TWAC have the same issue? Does it require any later gadgets, or no?
No.
Nice.
In fact, you could argue that the entire game can be played without powers.
Is that a category extension?
Well, see, there's no way to play the game without powers. You'd have to mod the game, which we don't really do on Moss.
Yeah, I get that. That would be a cool run, though, to do it powerless. Some of those powers are really beneficial to your casual playthrough.
All right, this wizard's done. Now we're going to go on to Compactor Reactor, which is the 5th stage. Now, I had one mask coming out of the portal that's going to be important later on in the stage. And I'm sorry if I'm not translating the names very well. Like, I missed a couple. Arctic Antics, the first stage, was called Slippery Rush in Japanese. Number 2 is Tornado Alley in English and Tornado Village Battle in Japanese. This stage is called Infiltrate with a Minecart in Japanese, and in English it's called Compactor Reactor.
I gotta ask, do you prefer the Japanese or the English names? Because so far, I'm thinking they actually did a good job on the English names.
English by far. Some of the Japanese names are absolutely dumb, especially for the boss fights. The boss fights are absolutely like just what were they thinking? Anyway, this is Compactor Reactor, so this is a detail that not a whole lot of people know because the game never says anything and the manual never says anything. So when you're in this minecart, if you hold up on the analog stick or on the D-pad, you actually go faster. And you can slow yourself down by holding down on the D-pad as well. But this is typically a detail that nobody really knows starting out because I found it out by pure accident when I was a kid. Because I was fiddling around with the D-pad and I held down and I was like, oh, why are there sparks coming out of his wheels? That's weird. and I held it up, and suddenly I saw myself going faster, and I was like, oh my gosh, you can go faster in this thing. And like that's how you get like a really easy platinum relics, especially in one of the later stages in the game. So
Wow.
after that, you're into this really easy platforming stage, which doesn't really have a whole lot going on, admittedly. Just the only really important thing I can say here is that like you got to corner very well, and cornering is essentially just keeping on the inside of a turn to minimize the amount of travel time. That's how you really optimize this game.
This level is really weird because it's so open, but they tried to put a lot of enemies in, but at the same time, it feels like enemies and damage boxes feel so small in this game. Maybe it's just how much open space there is in this level.
No, yeah, there's definitely a lot of open space.
Yeah.
Boom. Damage abuse, slide, TNT. Okay, so TNTs in this game, aside from earlier Crash games, will actually detonate when they hit the floor. So you can actually slide under a TNT stack if there's a box underneath it, and the TNT will just blow up by itself. And I think okay. I touched the bottom of the piston and I died. That's a thing you can do.
Hitboxes.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. You can also spin enemies into crystals, and you can also shoot crystals and gems.
Oh.
Which, that's going to be important later on, so keep in mind. But for right now, we're just going to try to get out of Warp 1. Warp 1 is pretty notorious in this game because it's kind of hard to get out of, especially when you're doing like actual PB attempts. So,
No.
after that, Warp 1 is complete, and we're going to be moving on to the first boss fight, which, let me just say, this first boss fight can really suck, but I'm going to try to not suck.
Yeah, I believe there's a setup for this. Do you need to focus for that, or are you gonna?
Not exactly, no. I can actually explain it as I'm going along.
Yeah, if you're willing, because I will be honest, I'm not very good at the setup for this fight.
So, this level is called Suribachi Koroshium. It means Bowl Coliseum in Japanese, and in English it's called Rumble in the Rocks. So this is where you finally fight the first boss, and maybe I should explain the story a little bit. So the story is that Uka Uka and Dr. Cortex, after Crash 3, the bad ending of Crash 3, I should say, they plot Crash's death straight up, and they do that by creating a super powerful mecha, or not mecha, but super powerful Bandicoot named Crunch Bandicoot. And he can only be powered by the use of the elementals, which they awaken to generate enough power so that Crunch can actually like live and function. However, as you can see, this boss fight is kind of just people rag on this game for being, they call it like a minigame collection, and it kind of feels like that sometimes. Like these boss fights sometimes just feel like a minigame collection, but it is a very clever use of the ball mechanic, I would say.
Yeah, this level will teach you.
And Crunch is in a ball, so essentially, you're okay. Ball, and then boom, there we go. All right. So first boss is done and over with. That was pretty easy, and we get probably the most useless power up in the entire series. This is the Sneak Shoes, aka the Tiptoe. And let me just say that this is a pretty memey power-up. You never use it in a speedrun, ever.
I believe casually it lets you walk on nitro, does it not? Or am I
Yes,
insane?
it lets you walk on nitros that are suspended in a line. That's it.
Normally in a Crash game, contacting a nitro is instantly like, goodbye, Crash, you're done. So, yeah, we didn't see how that level goes wrong, which is really good. But basically, you and Crunch are just fighting to turn a number of balls to your color. So, yeah, that you don't want him hitting any balls, and you go fast.
And the elemental that we just defeated, his name is Rocco. And fun fact, in English, his voice actor is Thomas F. Wilson, who people would know as Biff from Back to the Future. And I'm gonna say this right now, but that's pretty epic that they got him to voice in this game. And the elemental we're facing now is Wawa. And if you live in any area that has a Wawa gas station, congratulations, because you guys have something that I don't have. Anyways, so Wawa is voiced by Arlie Ermey in the English version, which is pretty epic. Also, I just want to take a second to say rip Arlie Ermey. May his soul rest in peace. Very, very good actor. And we're now in the water hub. And this stage that we're in right now is called That Sinking Feeling in English. In Japanese, it's called Attack the Pirate Ships. Even though these are not pirates. It doesn't make any sense.
So, from casual playing, I could say this stage has a certain element of your missile locked on and you still missed. What is your opinion on that? Is that a definite thing or is that a me thing?
That is a thing that happens sometimes because the game will straight up, or actually no, it's not the game. It's the enemies will get in front of your bullets. They'll protect the president, if you will.
Get down, Mr. President.
Exactly.
That explains so much.
Yeah, you'll shoot a bullet and then an enemy will just fly in the path of your bullet and you hit them instead of the ship. And it's just, yeah, it's
Also,
one of those.
That was a really impressive ending where as the final rocket was homing in, you flew into the final box. That was a really tight ending. I like that.
Yeah, I do that a lot, but you really shouldn't because there's a chance that you can miss that box, especially because as soon as you land the final hit on the ship, you lose control, which means you can't do anything.
You also lose collision?
No.
So you could, if you lined it up, you could fly into that box during the ending animation.
Exactly. That's what I try to do every time. Because it just looks cool when like you lose control, but you still run into the box and you get the box gem. It's just nice.
It was nice.
So this level's time trial time is probably like the longest in the entire series. It is 3 minutes and 30 seconds of just this. And I'm not gonna lie, that's more than enough time, even casually. Like, there's no way you're not gonna get this relic in any fashion. Because it is just so incredibly lenient. Like, I've actually tried to run the clock out on the Sapphire time once because somebody dared me to do it. I was like, alright, bet. And it was actually super hard because like you have to stay alive for the entire time. And I might die here because I'm very low on health.
I know. Oh, and that suicider right there. Yeah, so...
Oh, no. Okay. All right. Yeah, we had to restart.
Unfortunate. Thankfully, well, on a time trial, you can always just hit restart. But if this was the actual level, that would have been a death animation and a lot of slow time loss. So how does health recovery work on these flying vehicle levels?
So if you hit a balloon, and the crate will drop down, and once the crate drops down, you get 25% health. If you hit the crate itself, you will either get 50% health, or you'll just get a 1-up and no health at all. And it sucks when you get just a 1-up because you're banking on getting 50%, and when that does not happen, rip.
Yeah, and if you pop the balloon, you get the immediate health, but the box, for the purpose of collecting them, I believe, does not break instantly. You must wait for it to fall and hit the ground. Is that correct?
Yes.
So that definitely could be a problem. The first stage doesn't really have these kamikaze enemies in it. Or does it? Because it definitely feels like it kicks up in difficulty on this stage.
The difficulty spikes super hard as soon as you get there, because Tornado Alley is very easy. Like, you'll almost never die there. You have to try to die in Tornado Alley. In this stage, they really didn't know how to balance the enemies. Like, they'll ram into you, they'll shoot you from all angles, and it's really unavoidable.
Yeah, and we have another one coming up where it's even more prevalent, but we'll get there.
Safari Parku da zo. So this stage is called Jungle Rumble in English, and it's Safari Park. Elephant in Japanese, and it makes no sense. I have actually tried to figure out what the reference is to this, and I don't know what it is.
There's not even an elephant in this level, is there?
There is no elephant here, so it's even more obscure. But
I'm
anyways,
enjoying this so much.
So this stage is very open and easy. So as you can see, there's a lot of enemies here that you can just stroll on past. You know, they don't really do anything.
Yeah, this is another level where there's just so much open space for some reason.
Yeah, and the flora is spiky.
Yes.
So
So
I'm gonna skip this checkpoint. Skip this
Yeah.
Aku Aku hint.
We're
So in the
doing,
Japanese Crash
checkpoint?
games, every time you break an Aku Aku box, he'll pop out and he'll give you a hint. Most boxes, at least. So that's the last hint for Aku Aku that we have to worry about in the entire 106 run.
Wow.
After this, there are no more hints. Now, if you play any percent in Japanese, you have to deal with a lot more of those.
So earlier you had a set of 3 boxes and there was a nitro next to it, and right there you just completely skipped up a set of boxes with nitro. Can you explain how the nitro mechanic in this game works for new viewers?
So the nitro detonator at the very end will blow up every nitro in the entire level. And this game is the first game to incorporate a nitro detonator that will blow up every box that's next to a nitro as well.
Yeah, in previous games, correct me if I'm wrong, it only despawned the nitro. It didn't actually explode them. Is that correct?
Yes. In this game, they will actually physically explode.
Cool. And nitro has a pretty generous radius, would you say?
It's 2 boxes next to it.
In 3D space, right? 2
Yes.
boxes every direction?
2 boxes. Well, not every direction. If it's
So
like
not
diagonal, I
not
think-
diagonals. Okay.
Yeah, not diagonal. But if it's like forward, backward, yes, 2 boxes. Up, down, left, right, forward and backwards. Now this chase section is pretty free. You don't really have to do a whole lot. The rhinos will actually break boxes for you, so you don't have to worry about those. This cave section right here, though, you actually have to break these boxes, because if you don't, then you have to die and then you gotta restart. Or not restart, but you have to die and respawn. In this part, you don't have to break any boxes. The rhinos will do that for you. So if you miss one, don't worry about it. There's
Now,
only one other box in this that you have to hit, and it's coming up here right now.
I recall that do you have to hold, I think, forward to go faster, or is it X or something? Or
you hold X on the PS2 controller.
Yeah,
on
or the
Xbox, it's A.
And if you don't do that, the rhinos will pretty much crush you, right? That's required for that section?
I recall as a kid, I would die a few times because I wasn't holding X.
Okay.
And they will indeed catch up to you. Like, I think there's a turn where if you're not holding X, you will die.
Yeah.
Because they will catch up to you. Even if you're holding X at that turn, there's a
Yeah.
chance that you will die.
Thankfully, in TWAC, the chase sections, I would say, are... You can see really far ahead in TWAC, so it's not too bad compared to, like, Crash 2 chase sections where you need to memorize those levels or you will die.
Crash 2 and Crash 3 have a very far-in camera angle.
Yes.
And this is the only game that has a camera angle that will actually show you like super far ahead of time, which is both a good and a bad thing. The good thing is that you can actually react to what's coming up. The bad thing is that you can it's kind of hard to see yourself, especially with the PS2 resolution. And if you don't have an upscaler like I do, it's kind of hard to see in the background. Which I should note that I am using an upscaler for this, so if some of you have noticed that the footage is a little bit jittery, that's actually normal for the PlayStation 2. The PS2 will, I think it's called bob and weave. It's a form of interlacing, which means that it actually displays half the resolution normally, but every single frame, it will display a different image, like slightly below it, which actually doubles the resolution. But if you pause this at any point, the resolution will look like it's half. So just a little bit of tech talk with your boy.
So we've entered not just a new level, but we've entered a completely new theme. What are the general mechanics and movements for these kind of water levels? And also, what's the name of this level? If you know it. Where it's
This
hard.
level in Japanese, translated to English, is called Wavering Undersea Exploration. In English, it's called Seashell Shenanigans. The movement in these stages is pretty simple. You can hit the jump button, which is X in this case, and the spin button, which is square. And typically that's kind of like your fastest form of movement, is to paddle and spin at the same time. There is a way to actually keep the speed up the entire time. And that's to keep a very specific rhythm of paddling and spinning. And if you do that, you basically keep constant speed the entire time. Now, the submarine right here, this is 100% an auto-scroller. There's no way to speed this shit up.
Yeah. A downside of the submarine, this might be a personal opinion on this. Whereas the running sections, the camera is really, really far out. The submarine feels like it almost doesn't give you enough screen at all. It's so scary to just plow forward in the submarine, and you'll just run into enemies if you do not have these levels memorized, in my personal opinion.
There's only 2 of these well, 2.5. There's 7, level 7, level 19, and level 10. Level 10 is the half one. Level 10 is half water stage, half platforming stage. The platforming part of level 10 is actually really good. But the moment you get to 19, that's when shit gets real, if you will.
Yeah,
So this level in Japanese is called it's the Ninja Mansion, and in English it's Bonsai Bonsai.
Also, this is the first time you get to platform with Coco in Crash, is it not?
The first time you get the platform as Coco, yes.
Yeah, and does she control differently than Crash fundamentally? I know she has at least one move that's different.
Fundamentally, no, she's not different. But yes, there is one move that she has that's completely different from Crash, which we're not going to use unless we have some free time. Because it's very slow. You lose about 3 seconds every time you use it.
She does also do like a nice little like shin kick instead of a spin, which makes her look awesome, if I do say so myself. I really liked being able to platform as Coco in this game. But they made the levels sometimes very hard. You actually were when we were talking about this run, you mentioned this level in particular had some unique changes. Are we gonna get into that later, or is now a good time?
Oh no! Oh, that was not a good thing I should have done. But at least the death wasn't huge.
Yeah, you would literally just hit a checkpoint, but now you have to make up for that mask, right?
Yeah, typically I would have invincibility here, but spinning the fish ruined my speed because I was trying to wall boost. Now, this whole stage, you can pretty much wall boost like the entire time because it's either like, there's a lot of 2D sections, and there's a lot of like walls, like flat walls that you can angle into. And when you angle into them, you gain speed, which with Coco, that's kind of all you can really do. It's either you zigzag, which you do with the analog stick, or you wall boost.
Yeah, just like previous Crash games, a movement tech that you could do is zigzagging. And you mentioned, in this game, you pretty much have to do it with the analog, whereas in the other games, you could do it with D-pad. Zigzagging saves... How much time would you estimate if you do decent zigzagging throughout the course of the entire run?
2 seconds. In the entire run.
So, I would say, you mentioned that you're a big fan of Metal Gear. Do you know Metal Gear 2, or Metal Gear Solid 2 has a speed tech called cartwheeling? I think every cartwheel saves something like 0.007 seconds. Throughout the course of the run, it saves like, maybe, I don't know the exact number, but it's like 5 seconds if you do every cartwheel optimally. Maybe it's like 15, but you get the gist.
Aku Aku is just chilling at the portal.
It is, yeah.
But yes, I do know about cartwheeling. Whenever I saw a speedrun of Metal Gear Solid 2, whenever they get to Raiden, that's pretty much all they do is they just cartwheel. Because cartwheeling is actually fast, while it's rolling with Snake is not fast.
Yeah. Yeah. But if you cartwheel into a wall in Metal Gear Solid 2, all that time save, you literally just lost it because you get stuck on walls.
Yeah, I remember that. So this stage is called. Let me see if I remember. So this is called. Underwater Secret Base in Japanese. And in English, it's called H2O No. One of the cheesier level names in this game.
Japanese might have this one in my opinion, because I've never understood H2O No as a level name.
Now, the boss coming up has probably the dumbest name in the entire game, which we'll get to, but for right now, this is H2O No. It starts off as a water stage with a submarine. And it's very straightforward. It's actually, more reminiscent of the water stages in Warped because of the more cramped level design. So you can basically see everything in frame, which is kind of how they should have been to begin with, because the actual water stages give you a lot of space. This one does not give you a lot of space. And you could say that's actually a good thing, because you can actually see everything. But regardless, you can get through this whole section without stopping a single time. These mines are a casual nightmare because people panic because the submarine is so huge, the hitbox is ginormous.
Yes.
And the hitboxes on the mines are also accurate to the model, which means that if you get clipped by the edge, the edge of a mine, you will die. And the submarine is not a temporary thing. You have to use it.
If
you die in the submarine, you die for real.
I'm going to be honest with you. You gave me multiple heart attacks. If I haven't mentioned, I speedrun any %, and watching you do that with just such smooth sub movement, everything you said was so true. I thought you were going to hit so many bombs, so many mines. Oh my god.
It's possible to get past every single mine in the whole game like that. You can actually just not stop at all, and you will never get hit by a mine. People tend to panic with the mines because they think that it's going to drop really fast when they go under it.
Mm-hmm.
All I can say is that you can get past them while just holding right, and you'll be just fine. So this bonus is one of the coolest in the whole game because you can do wall boosting like I'm doing now, and it is super cool when you actually get it right because you go mega fast.
Wow.
There we go. Typically, you don't move that fast, but in the air, especially in this bonus, because you're basically in the air like the whole time. So in order to cut down the amount of time you're spending in the air, and also just to increase your distance, you can do wall boosting. That is probably the most extreme example of wall boosting in the whole game, because it saves so much time.
Yeah, you definitely could see the movement, and how easily you cleared that nitro gap with wall boosting was insane. That would be very hard to do if you didn't wall boost.
Mm-hmm. I mean, you can do that even without wall boosting. That's what I used to do. But wall boosting is sort of a risk reward because you go fast, but if you do it wrong, you actually get stuck on the wall. So it's very risky. I'm just glad I did not get stuck there because typically... okay. Alright, so this boss, right?
Mm-hmm.
This boss takes less than 30 seconds. This is called drain damage in English. In Japanese, it's called hopping and leaping. It is quite literally descriptive of what you do in this boss fight. And yeah, just sit back and watch for a second because this will be over in about a few more seconds.
I'm ready to see this platforming.
And just like that, it's over. We get double jump.
Wow. What a boss. I
love that reaction, just yeah,
wow.
That's cool.
I gotta ask a question. I understand the green ones you're meant to duck, the blue ones you're meant to jump. What does him slamming and making bubbles under the platform do?
Literally nothing. I have no idea why that attack does not work.
Alright, good to know it's not just me. I don't understand. He just hits, bubbles happen. I'm like, okay, so nothing. The way that boss is meant to get harder is he adds a new attack in, but we just did it so fast we didn't even let him finish an entire attack cycle, except for maybe the first one, because I don't think you could avoid that. Anyway, this is Pyro, I believe his name is.
Pyro, yes. So we just defeated Wawa, and this is Pyro, who is the fire elemental. The level we're in now is called Hia Hia no Doki in Japanese. It means cold heartbeat. In English, this level is called Eskimo Roll, and this is probably one of the most infamous ball stages in the entire game because it is just... The level design is just not very good, and I have a theory as to why that is, and I think this is one of the very first ball stages that they made for the game to test out the physics. And it definitely explains a lot because it's very rough. Now, there's enemies here and all that, but enemies don't exactly kill you in this. The only things that kill you in this stage is Dingodile, which I guess I should explain, but Dingodile, Tropy, and Tiny Tiger show up in these stages.
And only
no,
these
they are
stages.
not bosses in this game. They are stage hazards, and they can appear upwards to like maybe 3 or 4, like 2 to 3 times in the same stage at different locations. It's very strange, and I don't really like that overall. I mean, you basically just take these incredible bosses from Crash 3, and they're downgraded. See, we just passed Dingodile. He's just sitting there firing fireballs.
Yeah.
So we're going to get on the side here, rail that, basically.
Oh, that was nice.
Hole skip. Oh, it's not really a hole skip.
It's just good platforming. Well, I don't know if you could even call it platforming. Is that the third Dingo now? Come on, game. Come on.
Yes, Dingo appears 3 times in this level. So get ready to see this. So I just hit a checkpoint, right? And there's a box right here that we need to hit. So if I hit this box, we have 57 boxes. When I respawn, I'm going to have 57 boxes. Because, now your mind's about to be blown here. So if you break a box, after already hitting a checkpoint that's further ahead in the stage, that box you just broke will stay broken even after you die and respawn at that same checkpoint. So you can do stuff like what I just did there, and it's pretty epic.
Wow. You're right. That did blow my mind.
So the checkpoint system is pretty cool in this game, I'd say. Not only can you break multiple checkpoints at once when you hit one that's further up ahead in the stage, but if you manage to break a box prior to hitting that checkpoint, or after already hitting that checkpoint, it'll stay broken even after you die. So let's say you miss a box somewhere in the stage, and you've already hit a checkpoint. You gotta backtrack, right? Hit that box, and then you can just die and respawn at the checkpoint. And there you go. You just basically saved all that travel time.
Wow, that's cool backup. Of course, you wouldn't actually want to do that in the speedrun, but, worst case scenario, on most levels, I believe you can backtrack pretty easily in this game. Is that correct?
Yes. But there are a few exceptions where it's actually impossible to backtrack.
Right. Like H2O No is a good example. Avalanche, Tsunami, those ones.
Coral Canyon, which is the 19th stage. And trust me, I've seen plenty of people miss one box in the Submarine section, which is the first section.
Yup.
You have to redo the entire thing.
I know exactly what box you're talking about, too. It's, like, hidden at the bottom of the screen, behind an object on a screen that's a little bigger than what you can actually see. It's so easy to just go right past it.
Okay, so I missed a cycle in this level, which means we're going to be waiting around at the end for a little bit, but typically you can actually go fast enough in this level where you can completely like get through this one section right here. So I missed a platform, so I gotta wait. So you can get through this part right here without having to wait for these platforms, because they'll actually be synced up well enough for you to just roll on straight through it right over a gap as well. So we're taking it safe, and
Taking it safe almost gets hit by entropy.
yeah, entropy can sometimes mess you up here. I've actually died to him a couple of times when I'm like in the middle of a really good Eskimo roll time trial. Like I'll nail everything. I'm going really fast. Suddenly he hits me with a projectile, and then my day is ruined.
Yeah. So speaking of time trials, normal levels you have checkpoints in them. Time trials, you do not have a checkpoint. So if you
Right.
mess up, it's the entire level over again. Which, for 106%, would you say your average time loss would be if you had to restart a time trial?
Depending on the stage, let's say I don't know. Let's take one of the longest levels of the game, which is Gold Rush. It's level 22.
No.
If you die at the end of Gold Rush, you're losing about 2 minutes because that level is extremely long.
Yes. It's like
So
4 unique sections.
this level in Japanese is called Gogo Crush Buggy, which means Go Crash Buggy. He's driving a Jeep, but they call it a buggy. In English, this level is called Smokey and the Bandicoot, named after the movie Smokey and the Bandit, of course. So this is a racing stage. This is one of the few racing levels in the whole game, and casually, it's a nightmare.
Absolutely.
Because getting the crystal and gem in one visit is quite a challenge, and it's not easy. You really got to practice to get the crystal and gem in one visit, which I've practiced this quite a lot after I saw a speedrun of it. The former world record holder of this game, his name is Lennon Blaze. I saw him do this once, and I was like, holy crap, you can do that? And I tried it myself, and I was like, wow, that's cool. I'm going to keep this in mind. And ever since then, I've rarely ever messed this up. It's very, very... It's hard, yes, but can you get it consistent? Sure you can.
Yeah, that was really impressive. This level is definitely for non-twalk runners who just casually race the game with friends. That level is a sticking point. It gets a lot of jokes and a lot of pain in that level when you're trying to do 106. That was really impressive.
So we're going to do the Relic because the Relic is absolutely free. And fun fact is the platinum time for this level is 1 minute, which means that you can just focus on going fast and you'll still get the platinum relic. Eskimo roll is another good example where if you went as fast as possible and not do what I did, you can still get the platinum relic even while speedrunning the stage. It's pretty cool. That's my favorite type of relic, is when you get the platinum while still speedrunning it, going as fast as possible. That's my favorite part. This time trial is very easy compared to the crystal gem. You don't really have to hit any boxes, so you can just focus on the driving. And then when you focus on the driving, it gets really cool. You can cut corners and all that. You can cut past here, get past Tropy immediately. Because yes, that's Tropy in the car, in the red car. The bosses are in the cars.
Let's go.
The bosses are also in the flying, like, mobiles that are in the flying stages, so yeah.
This game was obviously inspired by CTR.
Yeah.
Yeah, when did Nitro Kart come out? Did it come out the next year after this, or was it 2 years later?
Crash Nitro Kart was released in 2003.
Okay.
It was shortly after the GBA games came out. And it was made by the same team who made the GBA games, Vicarious Visions. Which I guess kind of explains what was going on there. They made 3 games, which was Crash Bandicoot: The Huge Adventure, also known as XS, Crash 2 Entranced, and then they made Crash Nitro Kart. Then they also made Crash Purple, but we don't talk about Crash Purple.
Well, I mean, it's better than... Oh, no, you're right. Is Crash Purple the one full of minigames?
Yes.
Yeah.
But there's also Crash Boom Bang, and we really don't talk about Boom Bang.
Hey, let's talk about Nitro Kart 3D for the Nokia.
Oh, yes.
Is this the only Traveler's Tales game, then?
No.
Okay, so they did get others.
Yes, they made 2 games. They made this, and then they made Twin Sanity.
Oh, Twin Sanities was Traveler's Tales. I should know that, because I really like Twins.
Twin Sanity was made by a different studio of Traveler's Tales. They were set up specifically to make a Crash game, or Crash Games, quote unquote. But they've only ever made one game and then they got shut down, which is very unfortunate.
That is unfortunate.
So this level is called Tsunami in English. In Japanese, it's called Tsunami Warning. So this is probably the least interesting name change as far as the level names go. There's one name change that really didn't change the name of the level at all. And we'll get there. But it's pretty funny how they still managed to make it funny even though it's not exactly changed. Oh, sweep kick. There it is. That's the one move that I said we were not going to do. This sweep kick right here that Coco does, completely useless. That is 100% completely useless. We'd never use this.
Yeah, it locks you in place, and it's like, alright, well, here we go.
Alright, so I just got some backtracking boxes out of the way. So normally when you hit that switch crate up top, you have to backtrack for 3 boxes. But if you're fast enough, you can actually have the TNT's hitbox stay active long enough so that the boxes underneath will still break. So, if you're going to try to do what I just did at home, just keep in mind that you need to have 31 boxes by the end of the bonus, or by the end of that section I just did, because if you don't, that means you missed some, and you need to go back.
Now, in Twalk, do you get a checkpoint after you finish a bonus? Like, does the game just do a natural checkpoint, or can you die and re-enter the bonus?
No. So if you beat the bonus, it does not give you a checkpoint. But if you die after beating a bonus, you don't have to redo it.
Okay, so you would have to re-enter no matter what.
Yes?
That's fine. You're running from a tsunami. It's fine. It's fine.
So this is the first gem path we do in the game, and this is the blue gem path. So this is after the tsunami has already ransacked this town and everything's flooded. I think this is actually a very cool section of the level. The only thing that sucks about it is the depth perception. It is very not cool. It makes this section a lot harder than it should be.
Ooh,
Just
was
like
that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an accidental fish tank, I assume.
But we die at the end of this death round anyway, so masks don't exactly matter.
That is unfortunate, but it happens.
No, it's okay. It's not really a huge time loss.
Yeah, so gem paths. In Crash games, gem paths are generally meant to be... I think Twalk did something special, like you mentioned. You basically visit special areas, but gem paths are typically like, alright, now you want the real challenge? Here's your gem path. Twalk sticks to that, right? Would you say?
There's some gem paths that are super easy.
Okay.
And there's some that are ridiculously hard. Every Coco gem path, so she has 2 of them actually. She has the blue gem and the red gem. And the red gem is, well, we'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Alright, that was Tsunami. It's a very short level when you factor in everything. Now, the death there really didn't help, but at least we're out.
Yeah. I mean, you say it didn't help, but if you hadn't have taken it, you wouldn't have got the box gem. That would have been worse.
Exactly. So you have to do one or the other and then die, because you can't get the box gem and the blue gem path gem at the same time. You have to die after either getting the blue gem path gem, or you have to die after getting the box gem, because the boxes during the blue gem path will actually break because they're underneath nitros.
Mm-hmm.
Now, something they could have done is put the nitro detonator at the end of the blue gem path so that you can get both gems at the same time. That would have been a nice idea, but I guess they wanted you to feel good about getting every box in the stage.
Yeah.
Alright, so this level is called Dreadful Mechanism Dungeon in Japanese, but in English it's simply called The Gauntlet.
And
This level has the 3rd death route. And you get the purple gem in this stage.
I would say Gauntlet's a pretty apt description for this level. It feels long, and there is a lot of hostiles in it when you're casually playing. Also, that's a cool little slide, skip, jump thing there, just to save some jumping.
Yeah, you can jump up the stairs. You can do that in this stage, you can also do it in nighttime, which nighttime is just a clone of Gauntlet, but it's darker and you play as Coco.
I liked how that wall was just a visual suggestion. You just casually clipped through it to hop around. Good game.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I didn't even talk about what the text says when you enter a bonus area. It says, bonus challenge. And I died. Okay, so I just tried to go for a really risky strat. I'll do a safer one now. But
yes, so you can, I believe, is it what? You spin and jump at relatively close frames to one another, and the spin input will come out while you do the jump, which will break those bounce boxes from on top. Is that the gist of that?
yes. Okay,
Nice.
that was more acceptable. That was more acceptable. Now, I died in the bonus. However, that does not affect the actual level run. So even though I died in the bonus, I can still get the death route. Because bonuses do not count towards deaths, which is nice. Now, if I died at any point right now, then it would be game over and I have to reset the stage, which we really don't want to happen.
Yeah.
Thankfully, the level gives you a mask right before the checkpoint, which we're going to skip the death route, actually. We're not even going to do that today. We're just going to skip past it.
Oh.
Just kidding. I'm going back for it.
Oh.
So,
Are there... Go on.
So when you do this death route, right, the optimal strategy is to do it and then respawn at that checkpoint it just hit. So that you don't actually do any sort of like retreading of the same level you just went through. So basically, I'm cutting down on the amount of backtracking I'm doing. And this part's really easy. You just kind of platform really well. It looks really nice though. For the time.
Quick side note, if anyone's looking at this bonus route, I want everyone to know Traveler's Tales made another game called Haven Call of the King, or I don't know if they're a publisher or a maker, but very, very reminiscent. I want you to look at gameplay of Haven Call of the King and this, and compare the two, and you will see how similar they are. It's like 1 for 1, I swear. Sorry, I just wanted to put that out there.
It's fine. So, there's a God cycle in this game. We call it COD cycle because it's named after Cody, who's the world record holder. And I missed it both times. I'm sad. But yeah, so the idea is to basically beat these pistons before they come down, because when they come down, you have to wait around 5 to 6 seconds. It's slow. But we typically try to route, like we found out a cycle that completely like bypasses those. And unfortunately I missed it both times because it's very precise, but it doesn't really lose a whole lot of time in the overall run. It just sucks that you can't get it. But since we're out of Gauntlet, we didn't really die or mess anything up too much. We're going to head right into level 15, which is called Fahrenheit Frenzy in English. In Japanese, it's called Beware of Burns. And that's very accurate because, you know, you're in a volcano. It's like the game is trying to tell you, hey, see that stovetop that's on? No, beware. Don't get burned.
So, how long would you say it takes to officially enter a level? I noticed there that you hit the button and then you messed around and jumped into the air. I know it takes a while before you can actually enter a level. Is it like loading a level? Do you know what it's doing there?
It's just confirming that you're wanting to actually enter the stage. That's all.
All right, and you have what, like 2 seconds before it actually takes you?
Yes.
2, 1.
About 2 seconds.
Also, this is a new mechanic, and I think it's the only time you see this mechanic, is it not?
No, you see it twice.
It does show up later?
Yes.
I'm trying to remember.
There's a level in Warp 6 that uses it.
Warp 6. Alright, it's been so long since I played Warp 6. Oh no, you're right,
So,
there is.
Yeah.
Go on.
That was very self-explanatory. If you ever played the jetpack in Crash 2, it's the exact same control scheme. You hit X to advance, and then you hit circle to go backwards, up, down, left, right, flight controls, that kind of jazz.
And if you haven't played with the jetpack in Crash 2, you're not missing anything. Don't worry about it.
I actually like the jetpacks in Crash 2. I don't know why everyone thought they were so bad. But maybe it's just because it's, you know, a lot of people grow up and they realize that like the controls aren't exactly what they remember as a kid, which I understand.
That is, yeah, that's true. That's true. Also, this is a new crate. Invisibility crates. They're unique to this game, I believe.
Yes. So they actually appear in Crash Nitro Kart, believe it or not. But Crash Nitro Kart is a kart racer and not a platformer. Yeah, so they really only appear in this game as far as a platformer is concerned.
Mm-hmm. And specifically, what mechanics do they provide to the run?
So invisibility crates will make you invulnerable to lasers, and that's it.
10 out of 10 mechanics.
Yeah, it's a cool power-up, and it looks cool. It's like basically stealth camouflage from Metal Gear Solid. But there's no stealth, aside from tiptoeing, I guess, if you want to pretend this is a stealth game. You can tiptoe around all the enemies, but they'll just stand in place the whole time.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing, okay, so this is what we call 3Ding, and basically in a 2D section, you can like walk towards the screen and you won't get damaged by anything. I did that earlier with the fire spires that were coming down from the ceiling. You don't exactly have to like, you know, wait for those. You can just walk towards the screen, and the hitbox from the fire won't hit you because it's just towards the back of the screen. So that's what we call 3Ding, and in that X-ray section I was doing, I was staying towards the front of the screen, so the nitros and the enemies and stuff, yeah, they don't really affect me all that much. They're just kind of sitting there.
I also noticed that was looked like quite a bit of lag there from the game. What is that? Is that one of the laggiest levels in the run?
No, it may have been my capture card.
Okay. It looked like there was lag. Must have been me.
So this is the boss fight with Pyro, and this level in English is called Crashes to Ashes, which is a cool name, but then you factor into the Japanese name. It's called Attack to Attack. I don't know why it's called that. It just sounds kind of weird. Like,
yeah.
Of course you attack to attack. Duh. It may as well just be like, press square to hurt crunch.
Yeah. So what kind of tech do we see in this level? Because I know casually this level can be surprisingly challenging, at least in my opinion.
So the only tech you can really do here is, because you can't really speed crunch up as far as him chasing you. Like, watch, like, I'm sliding right now, and he does not rubber band, so he does not really catch up to me ever. So you can basically just do this the whole time. You can even mess around a little bit. Oh my gosh. Yep, that fireball almost killed me.
Yeah. So, do you know how his fireball tracking works? Because it seems he gets very good at aiming where you will be sometimes.
He'll throw balls directly at you sometimes, and sometimes he'll just throw it like wherever.
Yeah, between that and these little itty-bitty balls he drops, it's so easy to just walk into or get hit by something, especially if you're chasing him on really good pace. He'll just drop one on you or throw one at you, and there you go. Congrats, you have to redo this boss fight, and that's fun. Not really.
Now, you'll notice that I'm not sliding here, and that's because you want the balls to pass you so you don't have to worry about them anymore. And here, he'll drop balls that will move in a random direction, so you pass that one, and from here on you're invincible, so you don't have to worry about dying anymore. And there really isn't a whole lot of tech to this boss fight. Really, you just want to jump to make sure that you're not getting slowed down by slopes. Then you slide towards the power-up, grab it. So now we have Death Tornado Spin, which is a staple Crash power-up.
Since Crash 3.
Since Crash 3, of course.
Actually,
And
I didn't...
It was never used again after this game.
I did not know that jumping got you over slopes faster. That actually makes that a lot easier, because I know that final one, it's a long run, it's super easy, because when you're spraying the water, you move slower. So yeah, that's actually a really good tip. I appreciate that.
Cortex.
Uka Uka in this game sounds very demonic, and I like it. This level, this is Coral Canyon, but we're going to do it first. My route is actually routed around Coral Canyon first, because Coral Canyon, believe it or not, actually gives you a lot of masks.
Yeah, I believe Warp 4 has 2 different typically taken routes. So this is one of them, or is this unique to you?
I would say this is unique to me. I came up with this route because when I noticed that Coral Canyon gave you a lot of masks, I immediately routed around it because typically what people would do is they want to do a different level, maybe save up a mask from like Avalanche or something, and then they'll go straight into Coral Canyon because Coral Canyon with a mask is very easy. It just makes it easier. Like you don't have to worry about getting hit by a random stray enemy from anywhere or anything like that when you have a mask. So it's basically an insurance policy.
Yes.
But when you do what I'm doing, like I'm just, chilling up top, shooting missiles, having a good time. Yeah, this level doesn't really get very difficult when you realize that there's like straight paths you can take where you can... Oh, I got those. Okay. At first I thought I was going to miss them. But, shoot that giant fish.
And this is the level you said it's very easy to miss a box on, right? There's just this
Yes.
one tucked away at the bottom of the screen.
Which we already got, so it's fine.
Thank God. Did
Also,
not
when
want to
you hit-
see this level again.
When you
When
hit
you
a
hit-
checkpoint, it's cute because in Japanese, when you hit a checkpoint, it says checkpoint though. Because yeah, I should probably explain that. So in Japanese, if any of you are familiar with Japanese, that there are 3 writing styles, right? There's kanji, hiragana, and katakana. Hiragana is mostly used for regular Japanese. Anything that they don't have kanji for, they use hiragana. Which, for this game, they don't have any kanji, so it's all written in hiragana. And for anything that's in katakana, it's very easy to read. Katakana is only used for translating other words from other languages into Japanese. That's really all it's used for. So, for Crash games, they try to be cutesy and use katakana, like, for the most part, which I think is pretty funny. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but for, like, the major things, it's pretty cute, I'd say. In my opinion. Humble opinion.
Japanese can do a lot of play on words.
Which, actually, you know what? Once we finish the 4th warp room, I will, I'll point one out that's actually pretty funny to me.
Yeah, like People Started 2001, a game that I ran earlier, the loading screens on it, I don't remember what the Japanese phrase they uses, but it's basically along the lines of, the game is loading, please wait, but that ends in a sa, so they attach the character for ru onto the end. Saru means monkey, so we were sitting there trying to figure out how to translate this nonsensical Japanese phrase forever, just because they added one extra character on it. It was like, why?
Yeah, that's something that this game also does as well. So the level we were just in, it was Coral Canyon. That's the English name, but in Japanese it's called Shinkai no Nazo. It means deep sea mystery. And this level is Weathering Heights. Now, this is probably one of my favorite platforming stages because it's not too difficult. It also's got a banger soundtrack. Like, this is probably one of my favorite songs in the entire game. No cap. Straight up. This is
Honestly,
a really good song.
This whole game has surprisingly good music. Don't at me.
Okay, so what I tried to do there is spin the Aku Aku box so I can get some neat invincibility, but it's fine. We don't really need invincibility here.
Yo, nice fan cycle skip. Just fans are a suggestion.
And we don't have to take these slow hangrails or anything. We're just going to skip those. Go right onto the bonus platform.
Oh. Well, I've not seen that one before.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, right?
Now, any percent could triple spin there to make that extra distance, because triple spin like floats you. But in 106, since you have that bonus platform you mentioned, nah, we don't need that anymore, right?
Well, you can still do the exact same thing I just did in any percent, and it works just as well.
Oh, you won't hit the bonus platform?
No. In fact, you can
Cool.
just like death tornado glide over it if you're really like scared about it.
I'm not scared. I didn't give away my weakness or anything. What do you mean? Walks hard, man.
나면 잘해서. Okay, so we're gonna try to keep these two masks going into the final section. Now that fire right there is random, and I'm surprised that I did not get hit by it. Anyways, so these lasers right here are pretty easy. You can just walk underneath these like medium-sized ones, but we're not gonna walk under them. We're just gonna keep sliding, bruh. 'Cause that's the name of the game.
Lasers are the weirdest enemy they added, quote unquote enemy they added in this game. It's like, why? They don't do anything. Their hitboxes are literally a suggestion.
All right. So now we're out of Wuthering Heights for the time being. Now we are going to come back to all the platforming stages and get the relics soon. But what I'm trying to do is get all the relics that we can go ahead and optimally get now. That way we don't have to wait until later to revisit these stages, because I'd rather get them over sooner than later. That's just my personal opinion. There's no upside or downside to doing relics like this. It just means that you're basically just getting them out of the way, so you don't have to do them later.
Yeah,
That's all you really got to do.
You have to revisit all 5 primary warp rooms, right? I imagine you do warp 6 in one visit, but the other 5 you have to revisit them all, right?
Yes. So after you beat the final boss, you get running shoes, which means that you can go ahead and get the relics optimally. Now, what I do is I do warp 1, 2, 3, 4, and in warp 5, there's only one stage that you can optimally get a time trial relic in, which we do that like right away because we want that relic. That's probably the most important relic that you want oh, I missed that.
It's fine.
So
It's the most important.
The time trial relic of Coral Canyon. Just get that out of the way because we don't really need to do this level later. And also, we have everything we need to do it optimally anyways. We have Death Tornado Spin. And what I like to do is I like to break as many boxes as possible because it doesn't exactly subtract time for getting all the boxes. If not, it's like slightly inoptimal, but, you know. Anything to ensure that I don't run out of time by the end, because this level's Sapphire time is actually kind of tight for how long it is. So you really got to go out of your way to hit as many of these time boxes as possible. In my opinion, at least. I've actually gotten to the point where I can speedrun this whole stage without really going for a platinum relic and still get the platinum relic.
Wow.
Like, it's gotten to that point.
Oh,
now,
you know?
I have no masks, and this is very dangerous.
Yes, this level is scary with no masks. Also, we're in Warp 4. Did we introduce, I believe his name is Lolo yet?
Yes, so Lolo is the air elemental. And he's kind of... not really my favorite elemental.
Well-written opinion from McHooper here.
Yeah, that's pretty commonplace if you ever watch Mystery Games. But anyways, so Lolo is the... Actually, Lolo was supposed to be the third elemental you face. But oh, what am I doing? So last minute, they actually decided to just put Pyro into Warp 3 and keep Lolo in Warp 4. Because Pyro is supposed to be the last elemental.
He does feel like that.
You associate fire with like extreme power, which makes sense. And the dialogue that comes after Warp 3 kind of enforces that.
Yeah, it does feel like casually playing that Pyro probably should have been 4th. It was odd having Lolo 4th. Well, GG, you made it through that level, despite that scary moment up there.
Yep, and we're still on pace for a good mask route. And now we're going to go on to probably the most infamous flying stage in the game.
Agreed.
This level is called Crash Droids, but in Japanese it's called Ike Ike Coco Fighter. Means go go Coco Fighter. Which you play as Coco in a spaceship, and she's flying around in space, and you gotta destroy these space stations. Space. I just wanted to say space 4 times.
And this is all while every enemy in the game insists on dive bombing you.
Yes, so you're gonna see a lot of kamikaze enemies in this.
Also,
it's very common in this stage.
Unlike prior stages where you just destroyed the target, you have to destroy 3 targets and then the primary target, and the game doesn't give you a lot of time to start actually doing damage, so generally you will not be able to take out the primary target on first visit. I see you're grabbing a lot of safety health. I respect that. On top of that, you need boxes. Like, these enemies will destroy you in this stage.
You don't really need the health. I mean, I don't need the health. I'm just fine. What are you talking about? Okay, yes, I need the health. I need the health right now.
Yeah, you say that. I watched a lot of enemies kamikaze. You also just kamikazed yourself into there.
Okay, we're good.
Yeah, so if you hit these, like, central space stations, you just kind of go flying and spin around. Hopefully we don't see that, but it's very disorienting.
You don't get damage from flying into the space station, but it does disorient you for a second.
Yeah.
It's funny enough, you can actually still destroy the space stations when you're in that state, because you're still firing lasers. And I should mention, but there's an infamous glitch in Crash Droids. It's called Black Hole. Essentially, there's a spot in space that you can't see, but it is in a fixed location where if you run into it, you will instantly die and respawn without warning. It's one of the most infamous things about this game, and anyone that plays this level will tell you that it is infuriating to be playing it, and suddenly you just die and you gotta redo the whole thing over again. Now, I know where they are, so I can avoid them, but a lot of people don't know where they are, and it's kind of infuriating that, like, you know, you have to learn where they are just to avoid them. I've heard someone say today that they shouldn't really have to learn where it is because it shouldn't be there in the first place, and I totally agree. It is 100% an unintended glitch, and I don't know why it's there. It's there in every single version of this game.
You just said they. There's more than one of these spots?
Yes.
Oh, no, what?
I know where one is. I don't know where the other 2 are, which there's theorized to be 3. I know there's 2, but I only know of one location, and that's it.
I'd ask if you'd be willing to point the general direction, but you know what? Let's not be scary here. Let's just do the level.
No, let's not do that. We're not in the location of it anyways, so we don't really have to worry about it, but... Okay. I almost died. The enemies are really aggressive today. They don't want me to finish this run.
Yeah, I can see that. Oh my god. How much damage does a kamikaze do? 33?
25%.
25. So, and it's definitely not unheard of for 3 or 4 kamikazes to hit you at the same time, right?
Oh yeah, I've had a friend who is playing this, and they got hit with 3 at the exact same time and depleted their health from 72% to 0. And they died immediately.
Oh.
It was funny, but it was also really sad to see that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Very unfortunate. So this level is called Surfing the Avalanche in Japanese. In English, it's called Avalanche.
Mm-hmm. That one, I might also give it to the Japanese. Surfing the Avalanche is cool, although it's not really representative of the level.
Well, you technically do. I mean, you're surfing and there's an avalanche, so technically...
I mean, yeah, you're right. It has similar mechanics to the scooter, where it's another level where you kind of, at least casually, you really want to hold forward. Will this level kill you if you don't hold forward during the actual chase section?
It's rare.
Okay. Because
But
I know
so when you hold the
Scooter, you
crouch-
will.
When you hold the crouch button, you go faster.
Oh, crouch. Sorry, I'm using the wrong terminology. Thank you.
It's okay. Okay, the boxcar kind of pushed me a little bit. That's the thing that can happen too. The boxcars have collision.
Oh, I also see you're doing the zigzagging, but you're doing it on the ground. You don't have to be airborne to zigzag in this game?
Yes, you can zigzag on the ground.
Wow, that's pretty cool. I'm so used to Crash 1 and 2 where you want to zigzag in the air.
Being in the air is better for general movement because typically when you're in the air, you actually don't have to worry about a whole lot about like slowing down or anything. So when you're wall boosting, you typically want to be in the air because for some reason being in the air when wall boosting kind of makes it better. I don't know why, it just does. And that boxcar is going off into literally nothing.
Goodbye.
They wanted to show that off. So Coco is not a very good ice skater. She literally slips around the level.
Yes. And the momentum in this section is weird because I swear she moves slower in the air than she does, so it's actually really easy to jump over the Nitro, but actually you just land on it. Maybe that's the depth perception thing. The Coco levels don't have great depth perception at all, really.
So right now we're surfing the Avalanche, quote unquote. And these flagpoles right here are required for an extra gem. So if you pass through all 22 of these checkpoints, you will grab an extra gem. Now, you don't have to hit every box because the Avalanche take care of the boxes for you, but these flagpoles, you have to hit these. Otherwise, you're pretty much just going to have to restart the stage, and that sucks.
Not even taking a death will fix that.
Well, you can't die after this because this is the end of the stage. There's nothing.
Yeah,
to do here.
Yeah, if you missed the last one, it'd be well, it's over.
Yep. So
yeah,
Avalanche
those
isn't
last
exactly that hard. Avalanche and Tsunami are very short levels, which, funny enough, they're both natural disasters, and they're very short Coco stages.
Big sad. Coco's really fun.
So now we go on to the last level that I do in Warp 4. Droid Void. In English. In Japanese, it's called Tatakai Crashuroda. Means fight, crash loader.
And this level is why no, I remember we talked about this. In this category, you don't actually have the mask to do what I would consider as one of the biggest skips in this game. Correct?
You can't do that here because you have to
Get the boxes, right?
You have to get boxes. Yep.
So we can talk about that when we revisit this level.
Exactly, which won't be that long. After we beat Warp 5 and then beat the final boss, we'll get here in short time. But for right now, we're just gonna have to endure it for about 40 seconds.
And these hanging ropes in this game, or what do you call them? Hand crawls? I don't know what the actual name is.
We call them hangrails, but you can call them monkey bars or anything like that. Just
now, correct me if I'm wrong. This is pretty much the slowest form of movement in the game, is it not?
It's tied for crawling and tiptoeing, so yes.
Wow, really? I did not know that crawling and tiptoeing were the same speed as this.
So I don't know what they were thinking when they made this. This is way too slow.
It agreed. Does triple mask speed you up on hangrails if you were to have it?
Nope. Literally nothing can save you from that. You have to do that raw.
Good game. So fun little, like, cycle timing. Hey, you said we weren't going to see that again. What was that?
What?
The tornado spin. You brought
yes.
it back out.
Well, see, we're not going to be able to use it for the rest of the stage, so it's fine.
Okay, alright. I forgive you. It's fine.
But, yeah, so this is Droid Void. This is the first stage where we get introduced to the power loader, or the, I don't know. It's called a mech in this game because they wanted to avoid any lawsuits from, you know, the company that owns Alien. But Yeah, so this is Droid Void. This is the main gimmick of this stage is this mech that we're in. This mech has two functions. It can jump and it can shoot. But we don't shoot anything unless we actually have to.
Like that life box that was really high up.
Yeah, that's the only point where you need to shoot.
Now,
Otherwise, we typically just avoid shooting altogether.
something that's always stood out to me on this game, we noticed that those things called steel crates, I believe that's their official name, you just landed on them and instantly crushed them. But enemies, if you try to jump on an enemy in this mech suit, you just take damage. Is that correct?
No, you can bounce on enemies.
You can bounce on them. Okay.
It's just certain enemies have a hitbox on the top that you can't jump on. Now, these yellow robots, you can jump on them.
Okay.
Lab assistants you can jump on. You just can't jump on the little green guys that walk back and forth.
I
'Cause
see.
they have electricity on their head.
I see. I'm just misremembering. Cool.
Alright, so wall boost with the mech is really good. You go really fast.
I saw a purple gem.
Yep, that's the purple gem path. We're gonna take that the moment we get out of here.
Ah, we doing another one of those, get the gem and then take the L?
Yep, exactly. You said it as soon as I did it.
Speed tech.
Now I'm walking with the mech. We normally never walk, but it's just funny how there's a walking animation for this thing. It's actually really funny because like the walking, it's completely accurate. Like it doesn't look like he slides. It literally looks like he's taking steps with the mech. It's pretty funny. So we go ahead and just grab this gem and leave. You can see that purple gem path had like nothing in it besides enemies, and they were really easy to get around. That's because we hit the nitro detonator and then went into that path. Typically, that purple gem path has a lot of nitros in it. But if you hit the nitro detonator and then die and then go back, all the nitros are gone. So it's pretty cool.
I believe, the death path in Arctic Antics, you can also hit the nitro first and change that path entirely, can you not?
Yes. It actually makes it much easier. Same with Crash and Burn, Wizards and Lizards, and
Oh, so all 5 of them, if you hit the nitro box first, it's very good.
essentially, yeah. Except Gauntlet.
No, yeah.
Gauntlet's the only one that does not like really need that.
You okay there?
I'm sorry. It's just funny to make Crash's head bob back and forth in this because like you can do that before you even gain control. Like if you hit left and right rapidly, his head will just flail around.
Oh.
Without him moving, so it's funny. I
Alright,
think it's
so
funny at least.
what is this stage?
This is the 4th boss. In English, it's called Atmospheric Pressure, but in Japanese, it's called Crunch Rampage, which is not indicative of the boss fight whatsoever. So this is like an engine-style boss fight. If any of you are familiar with Crash 2 or 3, in Crash 2 or 3, you actually have to shoot things at engine to damage his weapons. It's the same concept here, except Crunch, his attack points aren't exactly very clear. You have to pay attention to Aku when he circles around the area that you have to shoot. Otherwise, you probably won't really like know where to shoot at.
So, if we describe, or if I define a cycle as him doing all 4 attacks, how many cycles should this boss optimally be?
So, uniquely, you can actually destroy a phase in this. So if you deal enough damage to a specific spot, you can actually destroy that phase entirely. So like right there, I got rid of the ball, like the handball, and now I just do one shot to the chest, and I shot his face, and that phase stopped.
Okay.
So each phase has, I want to say 25% health, and as soon as you deplete that health, you'll no longer experience that in the rest of the fight.
So you did that in basically 2.1-ish phases. Would you say that's possible to do in 2 phases, or is that a pretty typical how that fight goes? 2 and a
So-
little bit.
What I just did there is the fastest you could do it. on any version, because on Xbox it's actually slower. So here's where we're gonna get into some technical details. So on Xbox, the plane fires slower, which means you do less DPS over time, which means the boss fight takes longer. It takes about 13 seconds. So if you played absolutely perfectly on Xbox, it'd still be 13 seconds slower than on PS2. So PS2 actually beats out Xbox in this scenario. So that's just one of the main version differences where Xbox is actually slower than PS2. PS2 overall is the fastest version to play, period. So, alright, so this is the third ball stage in the game. This is called Medieval Madness in English. In Japanese, it's called Irritating Fortress Capture. And I just gotta say, that's one of my favorite Japanese translations because it's just so funny. Irritating Fortress Capture is a great level name.
Even the devs were like, this level is annoying. That's the name. Done. And I would agree, this level is irritating. They give you some weird options and weird paths, and it's long, and it's a maze. Like, why?
It's funny though, because the time trial is actually really fast. And also in the first release Black Label PS2 version, it's actually better on that. Even though overall Black Label's worse, this is the only example of a level that got changed for the worse in every other version since.
Oh, and what in particular got changed?
So this platform right here got reduced from 2 platforms to 1, which means it's a lot slower. And there's a piston coming up here that actually moves way slower. It moves about 3 to 4 times slower than it did in Black Label, which means that if you miss the cycle, you're waiting here for about 10 seconds for this thing to come down. It's very slow. But in Black Label, if you miss it, you're waiting about maybe 3 to 5 seconds.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so typically, to give you an idea, so that piston right there will launch you into the air. It goes so fast in Black Label.
Mm-hmm.
But in this, in every other version since, they drastically reduced the speed. I don't know why, but I guess they just thought that was the right thing to do.
That's cool.
So we're going to go for some epic hole skips here in just a second. But I just want to take a moment to mention Tropy and Dingodile are right here. And in this maze coming up, here they are again.
Mm-hmm. And in this level, they do...
So hole skip and hole skip right here. Boom. Now we don't have to do that maze.
Oh, wow. That looks scary, but I imagine that's actually pretty easy.
It's easy as long as you have the speed. If you don't have the speed, or you get some weird height before you make the leap, it gets scary.
Yeah, the last checkpoint is quite a ways back if you miss that. It's before the long wall, sloped wall ride with the 2 NPCs on it, right?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, yeah, and you can also die at the very end after grabbing the box gem. That's fun.
Yeah, you can do that. I can vouch for that.
So this is one of the only relics in the game that you would probably need to do before doing anything else after Warp 5, because getting this relic is important.
Yeah,
The reason why it's important is because you grab... so by the end of the relics... So what we do is that we grab this relic, and by the time we get through with Warp 4, you would have done 21 relics, which is important. Now, when you go to Warp 6, which is the secret warp room, you grab 4 more relics, so it totals up to 25, and the last level in that warp room will unlock once you get the 25th relic. Thus, you're saving a lot of time from having to backtrack, from Warp 6 back to Warp 5 and stuff like that. So you actually do Warp 5 last in the relics.
I see. So that would mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to make sure I just understood you. This is Relic 20? 19 or 20 then, right?
This is 8.
This is Relic 8, okay. Wow, I completely did not listen to the thing you said then.
Yeah, this is the 8th relic.
Because I know that, yeah, every 5 relics will unlock another level. That's how they did it in 2, or in 3, and they kept it in this one. So, first level requires 5 relics to even access, the second one is 10, etc., etc. So, relic routing is actually quite significant.
We're gonna go for a bigger hole skip here.
Oh?
Ooh, yeah.
Yo, nice skip. Yo, we got some pretty big names in chat tonight. How is chat doing? I hope you guys are having a great night. Welcome, Tet. Welcome, Cody, Bolt, Lady Percent.
Tet and Cody are here. Oh
Pep
no!
and Cody are here. They are.
Cody. So Cody, I'm gonna give a quick shout out. So Cody is the world record holder for both categories in Wrath of Cortex. He is a cracked individual, and he grinds this game super hard. So yeah, shout outs to Cody. Also shout outs to Tet. Tet also is very good at this game. He hasn't played this game in a while, but he used to, and he's very knowledgeable of it. He ran this game a lot before I came along, and basically, you know, popped him.
Ooh, shout outs.
No, but he's a good guy. Very good guy. Yeah, so hi everybody in chat who came to watch me in the marathon. Appreciate it, of course. We're just now entering Gold Rush. So this is one of those puns in Japanese that I wanted to bring light to. So this level in Japanese is called Goldo Crush. Because in English it's just called Gold Rush. But in Japanese they call it Goldo Crush. Because crushu can either mean crash or crush. And it's one of those things that, honestly, the joke gets lost when you try to retranslate it back into English. Like, it's basically just a Japanese-only pun.
So, you mentioned earlier one of your favorite songs. I'm gonna be honest. This level has probably my favorite song in the whole game.
Oh,
I love this song's this level's track.
Oh yeah, Gold Rush is a banger, and okay. We can live with this.
I'm fighting to not start singing it because I really want to. I like it.
Gold Rush is pretty good of a song. I mean, this whole soundtrack is good. Don't get me wrong, but there is
Agreed.
a lot of songs that stick out. Now, this is probably one of the best levels in the game. It's also the longest level in the game, from just a pure platforming perspective, because it's super long. There's a lot of things you gotta do. It's got a death route. This is one of the levels with the death route, so you gotta grab a colored gem. Now, let me see if I can get this skip.
You know, it is fitting though that Gold Rush has the yellow gem. It works.
Oh, okay. All right, we're past it.
I like how you went for the skip without getting the checkpoint here. You just full sent it. Shoutouts to that.
See, checkpoints don't matter because if I die anyways, it's a reset.
Oh yeah, death point. Why would you do that?
Death point.
Death point.
I like that.
Yeah, I'm surprised you'd go for that in a marathon. That's impressive. That skip, at least for me, that's a lot harder than it looks, I feel. It's so easy to miss that.
See, not even top runners of this game go for that because it's very, very risky. You risk actually dying to that. So that's why I go for it. Because I want to make it look cooler.
I go for it because it's cool.
Alright, so here comes a death route. Just decided to destroy those boxes. Those boxes don't really matter a whole lot anyways.
It's fine.
Now, this death route is actually kind of cool. You're literally in a gold mine. I mean, we were just in another gold mine, but this is actually like a 3D gold mine that you can interact in. It's pretty cool.
I like the death pass. I mentioned it, yeah. I mentioned it earlier. They're really cool ways to make you really think about your platforming. What part of these like explosive detonator guys will actually damage Crash? Is it the initial like dynamite popping out, or is it the explosion of the dynamite, or is it both? What actually hits Crash?
The dynamite popping out of the ground. It doesn't make any sense because the dynamite itself does not hurt him. Like you can wait for it to explode on you, it just won't hurt you. And also, as you saw there, I shot the yellow gem with a bazooka and I died immediately.
I did see that. Yes, that was some nice moves there.
So that's a TWAC specific tech that you can do. Shooting gems like allows you to be more free because when you shoot the gem, you have a lot more time to act, so you can like go off and die or whatever. So it's basically like grabbing a gem and dying at the same time.
Yeah. And you said that's only in TWAC. In other games, that wouldn't work?
Yeah, you can't do that in Crash 3. I mean, it's the only other game with a bazooka, so... But yeah, that was Gold Rush, and next level we're going to do is Crash and Burn, which is level 21, and it has the last colored gem that we're going to collect in the game.
Off the top of my head, is it green?
We did the green one in
We
level
did
4.
green. Is it red?
Yes, it's red.
Okay. Second try, I had like a 20% chance.
Now, the coolest part about the colored gems, aside from the purple gem probably, is that, well, maybe the purple gem, is that all the colored gems are in a thematically fitting level. So, in Crash and Burn, it's very red because it's a lava stage. In Gold Rush, it's yellow because it's gold. In Arctic Antics, it's blue because it's icy. And in Wizards and Lizards, it's green because usually there's a lot of green with the like medieval castle aesthetic and all that.
You know,
Purple
that
is
makes
another
sense.
medieval theme color, so I guess it makes sense for Gauntlet.
Yeah, purple's like royalty, so that makes sense.
Yep.
I knew that for the red and yellow, but now that you've mentioned it for the others, it makes so much sense.
Exactly. So this is Crash and Burn. So fun fact, this is one of the most interesting levels in the entire game. This is actually the very first stage that they ever made for this game. It was originally concepted by Mark Cerny, who was a executive producer, I believe, or he was a producer at Sony at the time. Or actually, well, he still is, but you know, at the time, you know, he was helping Traveler's Tales make a Crash game. He conceptualized the idea of an open world Crash game, which eventually just became Twinsanity. But for Wrath of Cortex, oh, we killed the crab. Let's go. So for Wrath of Cortex, they decided to go with this sort of like idea that Crash goes to different worlds, and he has to sort of neutralize in an element that's like running rampant in the entire planet. So one planet would be snowy, one planet would be full of lava, one would be snowy. Did I already say snowy? One would be flooded.
You did.
One would be flooded. And okay.
And one would be earth, rock. Yeah.
One would be, yeah, one would basically just be like
rock, that's
rocky.
unfortunate.
Yeah, it's alright. Now, the unique thing about this bonus is that it actually gives you a mask. And
yo, did you get the parrot too?
I'm not sure about that one. Maybe I did.
So it gives you a mask. Sorry.
I like to snipe things on the bonus platform because you don't really get a whole lot of opportunities to do that, like normally in the run.
So what about the mask you get? You were mentioning that.
It's the only bonus in the entire series, I think, that gives you a mask. I could be wrong, but I think in Crash 3 you also get a mask from a bonus.
That seems like a bold claim, but I would not argue it. Alright, so at the risk of commentator's curse, I wanna mention, you mentioned while we were talking about this game initially that if you do a slide, you can then follow it up with a I think you said a frame perfect belly flop. And I bring it up here because I have done that straight into the lava. These lava gaps are way bigger than you think they are. Will we be seeing any frame perfect belly flops today?
If you mention, okay, so there's a bug. I want to say it's a I don't want to say it's a bug. I think it's just an unintended feature of buffering in this game. But there's a thing you can do in this game. It's called a buffered body slam, and essentially you have to be holding circle during the middle of another action. And Crash won't be crouching; he'll just be standing up normally. So when you jump, the first frame it'll just do a body slam. It's very, very annoying. It's unintentional most of the time. There's only one time I really do it in the entire run, and honestly, it doesn't even really do a whole lot anyways. So it's just a little bit of like fun facts. So I'm gonna try to snipe this gem.
Dang. I think this
Got
is...
it. Okay, I got it. Let's go.
Yo, nice snipe. I think this is one of the hardest death paths in the game. To both get to and to complete. It's pretty tough in my opinion.
So that red gem snipe, if you go for it, like right away on PS2, so what I recommend is you shoot twice because typically the first shot will miss because the gem will actually dip below the Wumpa fruit that you shoot. So you actually have to shoot twice in order to ensure that you're gonna grab it. And the first shot missed and the second shot got it. So thankfully we got it.
I would like to quote Cody from chat. Quote, "My God, no fear. You are a mad lad." Wow. All right.
It's pretty cool, right?
So, what is this? Cortex Vortex in English?
Yes, this is Cortex Vortex, based off of the space station of the same name from Crash 2 and Crash 3. Apparently Cortex remade the Cortex Vortex, so...
Yeah, you know, he just has the money to do that every game.
Okay, we lost the mask, but it's alright. We'll get another one here pretty soon.
I got you, Tep.
So this is where wall boosting actually comes into play, because you can actually catch a cycle here, which I like to call CV cycle. These platforms are on a set cycle when you spawn into the stage, and you can actually get through it very easily with wall boosting.
Yeah, this level... Is this the second longest platforming stage in the game, or does it just feel that way?
I would say it feels that way because of the amount of things you gotta do in it, but it's not really that long. Like, we're actually just about to approach the final checkpoint.
Oh, dang. I will say, though, trying to do this level really fast, especially on any percent, there are so many obstacles. It's so easy to just plow into something and die. I've lost many minutes to this stage. It's so annoying. So seeing it done optimally, well, seeing it done really well is impressive.
You calling my gameplay not optimal?
I'm sorry.
Oh, got him.
Seeing
No, it's okay. No, it's alright.
Seeing the optimal McHooper in action.
Alright, so... Yeah, they expected you to tiptoe over this giant bridge of nitros. We're not gonna do that. I mean, we could do it for the content, but I don't feel like doing that.
Oh, but content. When is content not appreciated? Man, this path throws, or this gem path throws everything at you. Nice, we got through it though.
Yeah, it's I kind of buckled down and I was like, yeah, you know what? It's not really that difficult.
I just full sent it again. Casual. Come on. That's your middle name, right? You're Mick Full Send Hooper.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So Mick Optimal Hooper.
So what
Go
we
on.
did was another crystal snipe, It's not exactly like super easy to do because the crystal's very narrow, but thankfully we got it without too much time loss.
So the hitbox on the crystal is pretty accurate, visual versus model, you would say?
Yes, yes. I mean that's exactly why the red gem is very hard to snipe, is because it's actually accurate to the model.
Oh, so that means that when it's that far away, it really is only that super small model.
Yep.
Dang.
So Cortex Vortex in Japanese, I forgot to mention this. It's called slipping through the electric traps, because that's exactly what you do in that level. Not called Cortex Vortex,
Alright.
like it should have been called, but you know. And this level in Japanese is called Fireball Approaching Rapidly, because that's exactly what happens.
Great
And
name.
in English, it's called Crate Balls of Fire.
Also great name.
Now, there's a reason why I do this stage after Cortex Vortex, and that's because we damage abuse on these, and then we slide on the floor, baby.
Yeah, this is so I mentioned earlier in Wuthering Heights. This is another example of the this isn't the only glitch, is it? But it's a pretty big one.
It's not really a glitch, it's more of an exploit of iframes. But yes, it's very, very fun to do.
It is fun to do when you're good, and if you mess it up, the moment he loses his iframes, that's a death play, and he would instantly die. So your movement does need to be pretty good when you're down there.
Oh, I got the nitros. Yeah, that doesn't really do anything, but it's funny that you can do that. Okay, I just messed it up. It's fine. It's not really too big of a time loss because we're right next to a checkpoint.
Oh. Can you actually land on top of those platforms when they're tilted, or will you slide off of them?
Typically you slide off, but there is a rare scenario where you actually can, like, jump off of them.
Okay. But you would, unless you were McHooper, you would never full send on that, right?
So this chase section is pretty easy, since we're back in the mech, of course. Now there are some boxes you have to break because the fireball just will straight up not break them for you, but they're typically like right after the door where you hit a checkpoint at. Other than that, the fireball will just take care of it for you.
So, do you happen to know, I seem to recall as a kid playing Crash games that certain boxes, even when they were quote-unquote hit by the thing chasing you, they don't actually count. Is that me completely misremembering, and whenever a chasing object hits a box, it will always break it in all the games?
So in Crash 2, you actually have to wait for the boulders to hit certain objects and the bear to hit certain objects. Because, so let's say you get like really far away from the boulder.
Mm-hmm.
The boulder needs to actually hit certain nitros because, like, let's say, I don't know, in Crash Crush, which is the 9th level in Crash 2, there's no nitro detonator in that stage, which means you have to let the boulder hit nitros, I believe.
And
now I could be misremembering. I think that stage may have a nitro detonator, and it's actually Crash Dash, the 5th stage, that has the nitros that you have to wait for.
Tet has confirmed that Crash 1, the boulder will literally hop over. Also, welcome to chat, Hypno Shark. You have a big audience, McHooper.
Hypno Shark is the homie. He is a CTR runner, mainly. And he has basically every world record in CTR. That guy is insane. And he was actually just playing Wrath of Cortex earlier today, so it's pretty funny that he is now here. Hi, Hypno. It's nice that you're here. And also everybody else. Appreciate it, of course. So this is crunch time. This is the final boss, and we're just gonna tiptoe around.
What's his Japanese name?
So in crunch, okay, that's the name.
I like it.
So in English, this boss is called Crunch Time. In Japanese, it's called Taiketsu Neo Cortex. So short showdown Neo Cortex.
I see.
Okay. My bazooka was feeling a bit shy there.
Now, the basic gist on the mechanics is Crunch is going to hit a number of buttons, and those buttons are not random. That is correct, I believe.
Yeah, they're in a set order.
And you basically just have to dodge. I don't know if you can enter this level with a mask, but you basically have no mask, so
Yeah, you don't have any masks.
you
It'll
have
take
to.
away any masks that you have.
Which is casually, this level could be quite challenging. Because while the buttons he's going to hit's not random, which effects it does, like which of those tiles light up on flame, how the
meteors.
balls bounce, I believe those are all random, are they not?
The meteors are also random, yes. But we mitigate a lot of it just by walking on this pipe up here.
Yeah, I never knew you could do that, and I imagine that even negates the lasers. They can't hit you there, can they?
No, so if you just stand in between the lasers, they won't hurt you. Like, I could just sit here until the meteor shower hits, and that's when I gotta move. Because the meteors will actually home in on Crash every now and then.
So not even the water ice can bounce into you here.
Nope.
Wow, you have
The
just
fire doesn't hit you, the lasers don't hit you, and the water doesn't hit you.
You have just revolutionized how I fight this boss. Thank you so much.
I know Cody's probably in chat and he's like, he's cheesing this fight, bruh. He's cheesing it. Cheesing it, dude. Alright, so now we have the speed shoes, which means now we can go ahead and get the relics.
Congrats. Now any percent would be over, but guess what? This is 106, baby.
Yep.
The run is just getting started, if you will.
Yeah, the first half of the run is essentially over. So now we go back and do the time trials for all the platforming stages.
Cody has confirmed, he did say that you are officially a cheater in the TWAC community.
No, if I were a cheater, I'd be playing Black Label and, I'd be doing the glitch. There's a glitch in Black Label where if you get the time trial clock in the 4th stage and then hit the select button, you're just going to teleport straight to the end.
I asked you to show us that, but you thought the Japanese would be better, and I respect that. As the guy running this game, I respect that.
Well, okay, you also don't want to see 45-second loads for every level. That's not very viewer-friendly.
You're running the load remover, right? It's okay.
See, the load remover, yes, the load remover gets rid of the loads. However, you're still having to experience them in real time.
I remember.
Yeah, when you get done, yeah, sure. The time will be there, but you still spent, I don't know, like 4.5 hours of your life just waiting around for load screens.
Yeah. I remember as a kid, I would play this game before going to school, because it had, I think, just come out, and I was working on 106 casually. And every time I would enter a level, I always had this constant fear of, I am going to miss the school bus if I play more than one level in this game, because the load screens are so long on PS2. I don't know if anyone else can relate to that, but I still have that little bit of, oh god, I might miss the school bus watching these load. So anyway, running shoes. Anything we should know about the running shoes? Any tech here? Or is it really just hold, I think, R1 and go?
You hold R2 and you just go, yeah. What am I doing here? But yeah, so this is the fastest form of movement in the game, sadly. This is the only Crash game where running shoes actually makes you go faster. Aside from Insane Trilogy, in Insane Trilogy, running shoes actually do help with your speed a little bit. So, in this game, it's literally just hold down R2 for the whole time, and that's it. And you can mix in some wall boosting in there too, which I tried to do. Wall boosting drastically increases your speed. It makes you go around 2 times faster.
Dang.
Yeah, it's actually pretty insane. And when we get to nighttime in Warp 6, we're gonna see that.
Can you wall boost in the warp room when swapping between levels and warp rooms?
No, the wall's too inconsistent.
Dang.
Also, it wouldn't really matter anyways, because you're taking a rounder path versus a straight path,
Hmm.
and typically you just want to do a straight path.
Yeah, if you're just hitting warp 1, warp 2, there's be so little time, you're just gonna hold the running shoes anyway. So, no, we'll get there. Anything special about wizards and lizards here? Because now's gonna be the time where we really gotta fill the air with commentary. Let's go. I love revisits.
Yeah, there really isn't a whole lot to say because the relics. I mean, as you can see, I'm just literally dashing through the stage, trying to get through it as fast as possible.
Yeah. Now, some stages, this will be a significantly different strat, I imagine, because now you don't care about boxes, but Wizards and Lizards is just a straight run for the most part.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, I noticed even with running shoes, this dragon is keeping up with you pretty well. He doesn't have rubber banding. He just, what, is he always a fixed distance from you? Assuming you
No,
keep
he
moving?
does rubber band. Yes, he does rubber band.
Oh, okay. Whereas other guys, is that exclusive to him? Is he the only one that really rubber bands? Since you mentioned Crunch earlier doesn't rubber band.
The fireball in Crate Balls of Fire also rubber bands, and the Avalanche will rubber band as well.
Oh, okay. So they were just super selective about which ones work and which ones don't.
The Tsunami does not rubber band. It will literally kill you. The
Yes.
Rhinos in Jungle Rumble will kill you. And there's one other one that will kill you if you just don't boost at all. It's not coming to mind, but yeah, there's some in this game that will rubber band and some that just don't. It's the ones that don't that you really need to be careful of. Because if you mess up at all, or if you
Yeah.
slow down a little bit, then you're gonna die.
Now, this level, this is a unique level, is it not? Because I noticed this one requires, I believe, the yellow gem to get the secret gem. So we have to revisit this. I assume you're going to be getting that bonus gem and the relic at the same time for this one, are you not?
We can't get them at the same time, sadly.
So is this the how many levels will require 3 visits? Is this the only one?
2 of them.
2 of them. Okay.
So Bonsai Bonsai and Compactor Reactor are the only 2 levels that require 3 visits.
Ah, yeah, because Bonsai Bonsai is the red gem, which, again, you don't get until Warp 2, or Warp 5. Mean game design. Why'd they do that?
Well, see, it's funny, because TWAC is the one Crash game where backtracking really isn't a whole huge issue, and also, I got through that without getting hit a single time. While holding
Yeah,
it the whole time.
that was some impressive. Oh, I see why they closed the path. Rosie pointed out they close it. It's because the level literally just ends at the end of that path.
Yeah. Oh yeah, hi Rosie. It's nice to see you here.
Yeah, I apologize.
Rosie is a... Well, it's kind of hard to classify Rosie. Rosie is a Crash speedrunner for Twinsanity. Used to be a speedrunner for CTR. I say used to be because they haven't streamed CTR in a long time. But they mostly play Twinsanity, if anything, now. And TWAC.
Well, Twins is a good game, and Twalk is a good game. I will die on that. So I respect this.
Both games are pretty good, yeah. So anyways, so now we do the time trial. The time trial is actually easy in this. Also, when the time trial clock, like when you grab it, that green text that pops up, you want to know what it says?
Ooh, yeah, go on. I was trying to translate it, but you're better.
It says, Time Attack Start.
Ah,
Time attack start.
I did notice that it was indeed in katakana. At least most of it was.
Yeah, it's funny because like in Japanese, you probably wouldn't even really be able to know what that says if you don't know English. You'd only just be able to read it. You wouldn't know what it means.
Yeah, you translate that and say, huh? What?
Time attack start. That's all it says. So, Compactor Reactor is one of those stages because it's so open, you want to corner as much as possible, especially with running shoes.
Yeah.
And dying here is not an option, because if you die, you gotta go through the whole minecart section over again. And trust me, that's not something I want to do.
I mean, you know, we'll just show off the no-hit again. It's fine.
Okay, I'm gonna grab a mask, because I don't want to die here.
Yeah, don't accidentally touch the the top again. Oh yeah, we got a comment earlier. Was one of these pistons just straight up missing in this version of the game?
Yes.
What is that about?
I don't know. On J and on GameCube, I think they just straight up get rid of a piston.
It looks so awkward because like the thing is there, but no piston.
Now in Black Label, there is a piston there, but it just doesn't work. Like it's there, but it doesn't do anything.
That's better or worse.
Yeah. So in J, they just got rid of it entirely. I'm not gonna lie, I don't miss it. Just one less piston to worry about.
Yep, less cycles. Crash 2 pistons have sat in my mind. I don't need Crash 4 pistons. Yeah, I just called it Crash 4. What are you gonna do about it?
Because it is Crash 4.
Exactly.
Crash Bandicoot 4 Sakuret's Majin Power.
Shoutouts to Crash 4, coming out in Japan first.
And then Crash 5. Crash 5 also came out in Japan in 2004. So, yeah, Jungle Rumble. So we're going to do this first because I need to grab some masks. Yeah, there's really not a whole lot that's going on here because I just need to get through this level to get some masks, and that's it.
So would you normally do this level first for masks, or is this more of a, I took damage I didn't want, so I have to do this first?
Yes, basically.
That's fair, that's fair.
So if I get out of Compactor Reactor with 2 masks, I'll just go straight to Bonsai because I need to do the Red Gem path and get that out of the way.
Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about that when we get there, because I remember you mentioning there was some things that are definitely worth talking about for that.
We can go ahead and talk about that now because I'm about to get there anyways.
Yeah,
okay. So, it's about to get really confusing, so try to keep up. Alright, so, in 2001, the first released Black Label version of this game came out, right? It had terrible loads, it had really different box layouts and stuff like that, and all that good stuff. But the Red Gem path in Bonsai was doable because they spaced out nitros to the point where you can actually walk in between them consistently. Now, when they re-released the game under Greatest Hits slash, it was just Greatest Hits. So Greatest Hits, when it came out, for some reason, they decided to put the nitros closer together so you can almost barely squeeze through them. And it's one of the worst changes that they made in that version, and I just don't like it, which is why I'm running on J right now. Because not only is J just better overall, because it's just Japanese, and Japanese is epic, but also because of the Red Gem path. It is absolutely horrid on Greatest Hits. Now, again, in Black Label, it's not there. In Greatest Hits, it's there, which means if you run this on PS2 Greatest Hits, well, good luck, because you gotta go through all that.
Yeah.
Now, funny enough, so Hypno Shark in the chat, he was playing this earlier, right? And he gets to the Red Gem path, and he somehow squeezed through the nitros without getting hit, and it didn't look like he should have squeezed through them at all, and I was genuinely caught off guard by that. I mean, it can happen, but it's very rare. And he somehow still got it. It was pretty funny when that happened.
So what I'm hearing is that the next time you do a Red Label run, you're going for that strat. You're gonna squeeze in between the nitros.
Oh no, that's hard. You can't really do that consistently.
No. Yeah, okay. So it's the guy who went for how many inconsistent snipes?
I don't know, like 5.
But nitros, man, too inconsistent for me.
I mean, they are inconsistent. They really are. There was a guy who speedruns Crash Bash. His name is Elite. He actually holds the world records for Bash, but He was playing Twalk one time casually, and he found out that there's actually a thing you can do where you jump on the fish in this hole right here. So that right there that I just passed and greatest hits, those nitros are like super close together, and you can barely ever squeeze through them. On Japanese and Black Label and Xbox, they fixed it, so it's not total bullcrap anymore. I don't even know why it's like that to begin with.
Those were actually not the nitros I was thinking of when we talked about this earlier. That's very interesting to know.
So, okay, so I just passed the super body slam. We don't need that. We really don't need that. All it does is add a text box and you just get a worse body slam. That's it.
Yeah, and you lose like probably 3 extra seconds every time you accidentally use it.
And Coco already has a super body slam by default, so it's just even more useless. For Crash, it's more useful, but for Coco, it's literally just the same thing.
Oh, so we're not going into the Relic for that level yet.
Not yet, no. We're gonna do Seashell Shenanigans because I am guaranteed to get at least some masks out of it. Now, I could have just done the Relics straight up, but I like to do the Relics in order just because I want to take a break from Bonsai. It just helps me relax. Seashell is a very relaxing stage.
Yeah, I imagine you're adding 1 extra level traversal in. Not even really. It probably loses, what, less than a second to do it this way, but it's better for you mentally, so I respect that.
It doesn't exactly loses a lot of time because it takes you just as much time to enter or re-enter Bonsai from that.
Oh, no, you're right, because of how long it takes to enter levels.
Yeah. So really, you don't really lose any time at all. It's just a different route.
So lots of spinning. Triple Mask has literally 0 effect on speed underwater, right? In fact, in this game, does Triple Mask affect speed at all on anything? I don't remember if we talked about that or not.
No, it does not.
Okay, so Triple Mask is just straight up invulnerability and faster kills and breaks.
That's it.
Wonder why they would change that on Twalk when all the previous games that, for a casual experience, increased your speed.
Well, it's funny because in Crash 2, it didn't speed you up at all. In fact, it actually hindered your speed.
Wait,
If you had
really?
triple mask? Yeah, so if you were to slide, which sliding in Crash 2 is, you know, kind of needed for the speed run. So if you get triple mask in Crash 2, you don't even slide at slide speed. You just slide at like the normal walking speed. I don't know why they did that, but it's just a thing you can that they thought was necessary. In Crash 3, on the other hand, Crash 3 is the game where invincibility actually speeds you up quite a lot. I mean, your slide jumps get massively magnified. Like, they go super fast, like double the speed with invincibility. And if you get on the hangrails, you go twice as fast. It's actually like a super good reward for getting triple mask in that game.
I remember that hanging in Crash 3 is definitely increased. I did not know that in Crash 2 you actually moved slower. I thought that the speed was just not as good as an NSS, which is a neutral slide spin, the main movement in Crash 2. So that's actually incredibly good to know. In fact, another I'd like to add in, I mentioned this to McHooper, and he wasn't quite certain if this was true or not. In Crash 2, if you do get a triple mask, the fastest form movement is to now crawl through the game. It's hilarious if you see someone do it. But There we go. We're back. We are back. Sorry about that, guys. It happens. So anyway, if you'd like to explain that again, if it's still relevant.
What were we talking about?
I don't know, man. It's a long run. Welcome back to Twalk, everybody. You missed Coco running around. Actually, you didn't. You saw it. Triple mask with Coco. I noticed we literally just talked about that, and now you have it. Just for faster kills, I assume? Or makes the level faster because you don't have to worry about spinning enemies and stuff?
Yes. So, invincibility is the bread and butter of Bonsai. It's better to have it because there's just so many things in the level that can just straight up kill you out of nowhere. There's like fish that come out of the ponds, and you know those are actually random. By the way, like they feel like they're set, but they're actually random.
Really? When is it determined? When you enter the level?
Uh, just it's just like whatever. It's like
Just roll a dice. 3 seconds pass, fish. 4 seconds pass, fish. Who knows? They just fish.
fish.
Fish gonna fish.
Yeah, that's a Twin Sanity joke.
Oh,
Fish.
I'm trying to remember where that would be. It's been so long since I played Twins casually.
So, funny thing about Twin Sanity is they actually referenced Twalk in a funny way. Because Cortex is talking to a penguin, and he's like, the check bounced. Are you sure? Well, the past few years have kind of been slow. Wrath of Cortex didn't do as well as we'd hoped, and the penguin just gets pissed off, and then he just like, fish?
I remember that now, yes. I love Twins. Twins needs more love, guys. Go play Twins.
No, it's got a lot of love. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, shoutouts to Joester for a lot of the love he's given to Twins. He's really given that game a lot.
Oh yeah. His hundo runs inspired a generation.
Yeah, I tried to learn Twins any %. That was a mistake. Don't do that. Don't learn Twins any %.
Ooh, okay, that was pretty cool. I just like dipped my toe in the water and I still have my masks. Let's go.
Let's go. New tech.
Okay, I'm going a little bit too fast.
Learn Twins Hundo? I agree. Learn Twins Hundo. At least learn all stages. And don't skip the cutscenes. Just play it casually. It feels like Crash. Well, the soundtracks, the soundtracks for Crash have just always been something I loved. I like Crash 1. I like Crash 2. Crash 3 soundtrack's a little subpar. Crash 4 and Crash 5 soundtracks, they're amazing. I don't know who produces the audio or the music for these games, but I love them. I love them.
So for Crash 1, 2, 3, and CTR, it was by a guy named Josh Mansell. He was part of a company named Mutato Musica. And yes, that's actually how you say it because it's like mutato, like potato mutant. And musica, like the French word, I think, for music. So Mutato Musica, he was a part of that. And he made the soundtrack for the original 4 Crash games on PS1. Crash Bash was done by a guy named Steve Duckworth, and his music is pretty good in Crash Bash. And then Twalk music was developed, or is produced by a company named Swallow Studios, composed by Andy Blythe and Martin Joustra. And Twin Sanity the music was made by
Spiral Mouth.
Spiral Mouth. Yep, there it is.
Who is a really good acapella group. I'm also getting a lot of flame for saying Crash 3 is meh, so I apologize for that. Apparently chat is full of Crash 3 OST lovers. I think Crash 3 is my...
The thing with Crash 3 is that, like, when you play the speedrun, you turn sound effects off, so really all you have to enjoy the run with is just the music. And you kind of learn to like the music when you play the speedrun, especially when you do the speedrun, because that's really all you have.
I think the only soundtrack, or the only stage from Crash 3 that's at all memorable to me is the Coco Tiger levels. I could sing you that song, but any other song I'm probably not going to remember.
I know every song
Wow,
by memory.
that's fair.
That's
I mean,
just because I've played Crash 3
yeah,
since I was a kid.
you play a lot of Crash, I imagine.
I played every main series like console game.
Yep. I grew up with Crash myself. Crash Bandicoot 1 was my first ever game. And I've been in love with it ever since. So, you know, Crash 1, 2, 3. I would probably say I played every main console game, but I'm not gonna bet on that in the case there's some weird, like, game out there. You never know. Anyway, that was a level. There wasn't anything interesting though, right? It was just run through, right?
Yeah,
Maybe some
Gauntlet.
wall boosts.
Funny enough, Gauntlet, the time trial is very dry. Like, there's not a whole lot that goes on. So,
Yeah.
same with Tsunami. Tsunami's another one that's just kind of dry.
Alright, cool. We can just keep talking about Crash memories then. Let's go!
This is a Metal Gear speedrun channel. We need
All
to
right.
start talking about some Metal Gear.
Alright, you're right. Let's talk about Metal Gear. So,
Metal Gear.
alright. So, what are your memories of Metal Gear then? Let's talk about that. My first Metal Gear was MGS2 Sons of Liberty in, I think, 2002 I played it. What about you? What got you into the series?
Smash. I'm not even joking. So when Snake got announced for Smash Ultimate, I was very excited because he was one of the few characters I thought would never come back, and I was like, "Holy shit, there he is! There's Snake, Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid, and he's in Smash Brothers." So I was like, "Okay, I guess I'll just go ahead and give Metal Gear Solid a shot because it sounded fun." So I got Metal Gear Solid.
Specifically the first one? Okay.
Yeah, the first game. I got a physical copy. It was in really good condition too. It was like mint condition.
Dang.
Yeah, it was really good. Played through it, and I got really upset. Like, I got really mad at it because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And I was like, dang, this game kind of sucks. What the fuck? And then I played through it again and again and again and again, and I got really good at it. So nowadays, it's like, yeah, my opinion of MGS1 drastically changed after I replayed it like a ton.
Have you played the PC version of MGS1?
I have not. That's the only one I haven't played.
You, now that you're a part of the Metal Gear Speedrunners community, should do an MGS1 PC run if you like the game that much. It's like 30-40 minutes long. It's great. And you will never see the game the same way again.
Yeah, you literally clip through entire sections of the game.
Yes.
And you appear in other locations just out of nowhere because the maps share the same geometry even though they're not in the same location for some reason. It's so weird.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah,
just the way
so
load
after
zones work.
So after I played Metal Gear Solid 1, I played Metal Gear Solid 2, and 2 was super different. It was so out there.
Mhm.
And the thing I had to stomach the most was the fact that well, first of all, you barely ever play as Snake in MGS2. You barely ever play as him. I mean, you play through the tanker. The tanker's maybe 30 minutes on a casual playthrough, and then it's over.
I just want to let you know that as far as MGS2 is concerned, it ends at tanker. That's the guy you're in the room with right now. MGS2 ends at tanker.
So you just play the tanker, and then that's it.
Yeah. There is no more to MGS2. That's it.
That's kind of I don't know. I don't like that because it's too short. It's way too short to just enjoy it like that.
Yeah, it's like 6 minutes.
That's the whole story is tanker plant. If you just play tanker, it's well, okay, Snake dies at the end, game over.
Yep. That's
and
it.
I really like MGS2. I like the voice acting a lot actually.
Oh yeah, you like it?
I like it
when Rose randomly calls you in the middle of your boss battle and says, "Raiden, do you remember what today is?" You
Jack,
like that?
Can you remember what day tomorrow is? That again. I'm sorry, but I still don't have a clue. That's okay. What is it, Rose? Talk to me. I'd rather you figure it out. It's important.
Thanks, Rose.
How important? Important enough, and we'll talk about it tomorrow. Why not now?
Yo,
That's so
shout outs
funny.
to that. Oh my god. MGS2 things.
Raiden
I'm
is like one
calling
of my
them.
Raiden's like overall one of my favorite characters from MGS, just because of like how relatable he kind of feels.
Really, Raiden is one of my least favorite characters from MGS.
Oh,
I know. I get a lot of flack for that, don't worry. I'm also a guy who says TTS is the better way to play MGS1 and MGS2, so I'm used to it at this point.
man. Anyway, we got through with so we should have, let me see, we should have 18 relics by now.
Just checking the pause menu. It's okay, I won't tell.
And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go straight to Droid Void because we're gonna show off the best.
Yeah.
So this is the thing that we've been hinting at basically this entire run. And you're about to see it right now, as long as I don't mess it up.
You won't mess it up. You've got every other trick. You definitely won't mess this up.
Are you sure about that?
100%.
Yeah, man, keep it at 100. All right.
Look, I've not sat through all these load screens just to watch you mess this up.
All right. There it is. Wall boosting.
Let's go. Good stuff.
Oh! I don't know what happened there. I just lost like all my vertical speed.
That wasn't even commentator's curse. That was just something else entirely. Dang, that sucks.
Oh, I don't know what even happened there. I think it's actually faster to just like restart and then do this from scratch because I lost the mask, so we unfortunately like don't have enough masks to do the skip again.
Yeah. Also, I apologize for any background noise on my end.
That's all right. Well, that was unfortunate, but at least we got to see it before I had to reset.
I agree. You got to show it off, and whatever happened there, it was not part of the trick. That was something else entirely. Big sad, but this level, even if you take the climb, it's still pretty easy to get the relic or get a relic, right?
Yeah, I'd say this is one of the easier relics. So when you get the skip, the platinum relic is 100% free. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't get it. And from here on out, I'm just going to try to corner as much as possible and wall boost at any opportunity I can.
And not accidentally jump on a little green alien, which is something I might have done plenty of times. The, like, darkness aesthetic makes this level... I don't know. Sometimes it's cool, other times it's just so easy. Jumping in this game, would you describe it as floaty? Because it looks and feels floaty, in my opinion.
A lot of people describe it as floaty. It's probably definitely one of the floatier Crash games. I think it's not the floatiest, but it is definitely floaty.
Oh, really? What would you say feels more floaty to you?
Crash 4, like the actual Crash 4.
Oh, the new one? Alright.
Yeah. The physics in Crash 4, like when you double jump, it takes forever to get back to the ground.
I don't have many fond memories of the newest Crash, so I can't recall what that's like, but I will take your word for it. Also, we got some more, what did you call it? Wall boosting?
Yes.
Nice. Oh, you can wall the boost on both the far and the close wall. Why does this level end in a disco, by the way?
I don't know. Maybe they just thought it'd be cool.
Someone
After you endure all that, you get to party.
But you don't. You just walk into the end. Please, someone explain the disco reference.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. We got the Droid Void skip, but unfortunately we messed it up at the end, and I guess I could have actually done it again if I sniped the Aku Aku crate at the beginning, but the cycles would have been all messed up, and it probably would have been even more time lost. So I didn't really want to take the chance. I was just going to do it safe. I still don't know what happened when I died. That was a bit weird.
It happens. Marathon luck, you know how it is.
Yeah, it's just really unfortunate. But anyways, yeah, Avalanche is another one of those levels where not much goes on. You just do it, and it's a very short time trial. So
Yeah.
we're not going to be here for very long.
Are,
Wuthering Heights is another short level, so we don't have to worry about that one either.
are any of the Coco levels long in this game?
Yes. Nighttime is kind of long.
Okay,
But then again, nighttime is just Gauntlet, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it's literally the stage or Warp 6 feels. Would you describe stage? I keep saying stage. Warp 6 is weak, strong, or just another warp room? It's completely indifferent.
I guess objectively it feels weak because there's a lot of levels in there that are just. Well, okay, it's mostly vehicle stages. Mostly. The only non-vehicle stage is nighttime, and that's it. Every other stage is a vehicle.
And night stage is literally just a copy paste of another stage with ooh, it's dark now. So
objectively, I would say it's weak. Especially because two of the stages in Warp 6 are extremely easy and are very like. I wouldn't say like if you mess them up, then you're a bad player, but it's very, very simple. And
yeah, well, I mean, I think most people would agree one of the literal worst stages in TWAC is in Warp 6. I don't know if you agree with that or not, but most people, that minecart stage, they do not like that stage in Warp 6 at all.
Oh, that one's not that bad. It's Force of Nature, that's the hard one. Force of Nature is the 30th level.
Yeah, that's
you're
the
on a
one.
Snowboard.
Yep, I do remember that level. There's that one.
That one is, without a doubt, the worst stage because if you miss a box at any point, it's an auto scroller. You miss a box, you have to die, and then there's no checkpoints. So if you miss a box at the very end, guess what? You gotta die or you gotta reset the stage.
Agreed. I remember that. There's also that really weird like polar bear race we'll get to. I don't know. Warp 6 felt kind of like a weird catch-all in this game, whereas in the last game, it felt like it was used for a way to get extra hard gems with a few extra variations. I don't think Crash 2 or 3 or 4 really did all that great when it comes to the secret warp room. It's a cool idea, but I don't feel like it was executed that well, personally. Are those the only two stages that had secret warps? Because the new one doesn't. Twins doesn't. They kind of like changed the whole style of gameplay after this game.
Well, okay, so in Crash 4, there aren't really warp rooms, more like just areas you go to, kind of like in Crash 1. So there really isn't like a secret area per se.
Yeah.
Some would say that's actually kind of like a downgrade because even Crash 1 had secret levels. And
yeah, I mean there's one or two, but they're really like more quote unquote optional levels in Crash 4 or the new Crash, which really it does feel like a downgrade in a way.
Well, anyways, guess what? Now we can go to Warp 6. Hooray!
Hooray! That's 21, right? Yeah, that's 21 relics.
Yep.
And then you mentioned earlier that Warp 6, relic, 25, it just works that way. It unlocks.
And the reason why we do Warp 5 last is because as soon as you get the last relic, you want to be right next to the final boss, so you can just go straight into it. So anyways, this is nighttime. This is the level we've been talking about this whole time.
Yeah.
This is a Coco level that you play in the dark, and it's basically just a dark version of Gauntlet. In Japanese, this stage is called Pitch Darkness. Watch your step. So we're going to go ahead and do the time trial first because I need to get some masks.
Okay.
The time trial really doesn't require like invincibility as much as the gem pass does. So we're just gonna go ahead and like do the relic first, and like this is something that's actually kind of unique about Warp 6. So like you can especially for TWAC, because TWAC is a game where you can't do what's called one cycles, where you do the box gem and the relic at the same time. You have to do them both in separate visits, which is kind of it's not my favorite. I'll be the first to admit, but I really like the one cycles in Crash 3. I think they're cool, and it really cuts down on the amount of time you spend in those stages, especially when it comes to Warp 6 in Crash 3.
Now, this Firefly that's following you, is he moving on his own pace like he does in Crash 3, or is he scripted to specifically stay with you?
He's like scripted to stay with you.
Okay.
So if you stop, it'll stop.
Cool. So you don't have to worry about him eventually randomly flying away, or like the bonuses where he does his own in both 2 and 3, where he just does his own thing, and if you don't follow him, oh, whoops, you're in the dark now.
Yep.
That's
yeah,
nice.
he'll follow you the whole time. So now that we have 2 masks, we can go ahead and do the gem pass, which I'm gonna try to do a cycle, but if I don't get the cycle, I'm not gonna feel too bad about it. But
Now, you mentioned this stage is just Gauntlet. Is the gem path also just Gauntlet, or is the gem path unique?
the gem path is actually not even here.
Eric, I said gem. Where? English hard. I don't know what I was saying. I think this stage has a second gem, right? It has
Yes.
the box gem and the second one. That's what I meant. Like, that's wholly unique for this stage, right?
Yeah, we don't have death routes or gem paths in Warp 6. So Warp 6 is actually kind of unique because what they do for the hidden gems is that they actually put them in locations where you have to kind of look for them, like search high and low for them almost. And for nighttime, the secret gem is actually above a spike wall that we'll get to soon. Now, because you can't one cycle in this game, we actually passed it earlier.
I see. So you could have gotten it during the time trial where... Oh, no. So it despawns during the time trial. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Got it. Okay.
Okay, we got it. Let's go.
Nice.
Now, I lost the mask in the process, but it's not too bad. Typically, what I want to do is I want to grab a mask that I don't have to do a body slam right here for these 2 boxes, but we take it. We move.
Yeah, so in other Crash games, if you have triple mask and you hop on a box, you just break the box. In TWAC, if you have triple mask, do you break a box when you hop on it, or do you bounce on it?
You fall straight through it.
Okay, so that's the same problem.
Actually, in the older games, if you had triple mask, you can actually walk on top of a box, and when you jump off of it, it'll break. That's actually something that TWAC could have benefited from, but it really doesn't matter a whole lot. Because the game doesn't really need it. Alright, so nighttime's over. We actually got a really fast cycle in nighttime. So that's pretty nice. That was a pretty epic nighttime, if you will. Holy crap, that's epic.
So, we didn't really touch on too much of the story of this game. Basically, when the evil guys create Crunch, the Coco is like, I actually have this super secret laboratory where a lot of stuff happens. That's where we're in right now. That's what Warp 6 is. I believe the game boots up with Crash being put into that circular ball and running in it. And then next thing you know, you're in this, like, warp area. They, like, try to explain why the warp area exists?
So...
Yeah, go on.
So, what happens in the story during the intro cutscene is that after Aku Aku figures out that Cortex and Uka Uka reawaken the elementals, what Aku Aku does is he asks Coco if her portal system has been activated yet. And she's like, yeah, all I gotta do is just do a few more things and it's ready to go. And then they go down there. It's basically a super scientific basement. And it's called a VR hub system. That's the warp room that we go into. the entirety of the warp room is the VR up system. So Coco made the warp room essentially that we're in right now.
Logic. And then Warp 6 is what the actual room itself looks like during the cutscene, correct?
Yeah, it's in the background. And funny thing, so if you go and play the TWAC E3 demo, the title screen is of that room. Like the title will pop up, but the background is of that room.
I see. So this is the level I mentioned earlier that not a lot of people seem to like. I noticed you didn't. It looked like you didn't spend a lot of time holding forward there. Was that just me not seeing it, or were you actually specifically pacing yourself on that level?
No, I was holding forward the whole time.
Okay. There was just spots where you like got random speed boosts around corners. So I noticed that right at the end. I was wondering what that was.
It's not exactly that I'm going faster around a corner. It's the fact that the camera pans to where you can actually see how fast Crash is going. Because when he's going forward, it doesn't really look like he's going that fast, but as
So
soon
it's
as the camera shows him going horizontal across the screen, then you know how fast you're going.
got
Like
it. It's the angle.
So this level, by the way, I forgot to mention. So this level's name is Ghost Town in English, and in Japanese, it's called Escape to Escape. What really great name! Really great name.
Now,
And it's literally just a minecart race with Crunch, but it's not really a race because it's super easy. People have pointed out that you can beat this level with the controller, like without even holding the controller. Like you can put the controller down, come back, and the level will be beaten.
yeah.
So
Now,
it's pretty nice.
the cool thing though is if you do go for the boxes, this level requires 3 laps, and it conveniently has 3 different routes you can take. Does it not?
Yeah.
So
So
you
we're about to
actually,
head into the tunnel, the mine shaft, essentially.
yeah.
And this is the hardest part about it. Most people do this part first, but I do it last because it's what I've always done.
It's because you're McHooper. That's just how it works.
I guess so. That's what some people say. Or claim, I should.
Or claim I might not be McHooper, but they say
Uh-oh.
I am.
I messed up turn. Oh well. I only lose like a second if I don't make that turn, so it's fine. So now we're out of Ghost Town, and now we're going into Ice Station Bandicoot, which is another really great level, I'd say. In Japanese, it is called Pass Through Sky Rings.
This
Because
level.
in Crash 3, it was called something similar.
Rings of Power.
I meant in Japanese. In Japanese, it was
Oh,
called
the
something
Japanese was
similar.
similar. Okay.
Yeah, it was also Sky Rings, but it wasn't Pass Through. It was something else. Oh well. But yeah, so this is essentially a Rings of Power clone, except you're in the jetpack, which is it's not as exciting, and plus you got to race this polar bear that's next to you, which is really easy. You just yeet on by him, and that's it.
Now, it is possible to bump into the polar bear, if I recall, is it not?
Yes, and if you bump into him, he actually messes you up like a lot, because you'll just fly into a ring. The rings are solid in here, so you really have to avoid touching them, or else you just fly all over the place.
And this level is also unique, is it? Because you have to win against the polar bear in order to get anything, right? Like, you can't get the box, the level complete, or the relic without if you lose. Is that correct, or is that incorrect?
Yeah, you actually have to beat the polar bear. I believe. Actually, no. So for the box gem, you don't have to, but if
I think it's more of a casual issue. You don't seem to be having any trouble in the speedrun beating the polar bear.
I recall that there's an issue like that where you actually have to beat the polar bear in order to get a collectible. I just don't remember what it is.
But it exists, and that is enough to know this level is not really that great, in my opinion.
Well, it works for Smokey as well. Smokey is another race level, like Smokey and Ghost Town. Same thing. You have to actually beat the race in order to get the collectible that you want to get.
Yeah, then it was definitely not box gem, because I know casually I always do the box gem on one visit, and then after I get the box gem, I re-enter for the crystal.
Oh, it's the relic. Okay, yeah, it's the relic. So even if you were to beat the time trial time for a relic, you still have to come in first place.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense because it's like, well, I beat the time trial time and I still crossed the finish line, but you're just gonna blue ball me like this. I see how it is.
So I think it was in Crash 3, if you sit too long at the start of the level, the clock will, or if you go too far in, the clock will eventually despawn. Does this game work the same way? If you miss the clock and go too far in, will it just disappear?
I think it actually stays there for quite a long time.
Okay, so you would pretty much have to willfully not pick it up to avoid or to accidentally miss a clock in this game.
So in Wrath of Cortex, it's very very unique because the clock will despawn if you do a certain action. So if you break a certain number of boxes or if you collect a gem or anything like that, then the clock will despawn no matter what.
Hmm. Okay. I figured it was tied to boxes. That doesn't surprise me. Yo, so I notice here you have to spin into boxes, but if you touch the balloon, your propeller blades automatically break them.
Yep.
Is which boxes you spin and which ones you hit with the propeller routed, or is that really personal preference?
It's more of just necessity. Like they're in a spot where you have to spin them or you can just pop them. Like
Okay.
most of them you have to spin because they're in a spot where you can't hit the balloon.
Yeah, they're pretty high up. I noticed that.
Okay, so I'm starting to get butterflies in my stomach because I know people are watching this. I'm gonna go for the relic right away.
You got this. It's just solo bowler. It's fine.
I've been practicing this, but can't guarantee I'm gonna get it.
All right. So you were mentioned casually. Most people like this level. Is their favorite. When it comes to the bowl levels.
It's one of their favorites, yeah.
Also, apologies if you need to focus. Just let me know.
Oh!
Oh, 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 dude, that was awesome.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to rely on the backup strat because the platforms are now out of sync.
Dang.
That's unfortunate. But at least I got it, somewhat.
Yeah, was that the end of the level right there? If you had made that.
Yeah, this is the end right here.
Oh, that's why they call you Mick Full Send Hooper. We established it earlier, and it still holds true to this day.
I don't know what that means, but okay. Oh my gosh, get in the portal crash. So you saw the actual strat, and I messed it up. And then you saw the backup strat afterwards. It's very hard to aim the ball when you're in the air like that because there's literally no foundation for like a good 2 seconds. So you're kind of just free falling and you're just kind of hoping to God that you land on something.
Yeah, it looked like you hit it and you just didn't have enough speed to ramp over the little lip you needed.
No, it was more or less like I just didn't slow down in time because I could have made it if I just slowed down, but
Ah, okay.
again, like I try to keep as much speed as possible through there because I want to I want to just make sure that I'm going to land over there.
Oh. I want you to know, chat says that was still awesome, and they fully support you.
Well, thank you, but still, like it would have been cooler if it at least worked.
You've done enough cool things. Just let it happen.
And the thing is after I do the 30th level, run's still not over. We still have the 5th warp room to do. And then after the 5th warp room, the game's over. So we're almost at the end.
let's just call time here and, be happy.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah, rigged.
Like, as a speedrunner, I get to decide when I end my timer, not you and your arbitrary community rules.
This is America. All right, I'm gonna do a skip. Yeet.
Go. Is it a whole skip? Are we gonna see a whole skip? Yup. Let's go.
That
Well,
one's
that's-
not very hard. The
Yeah,
one
that's-
I was trying to do in the time trial. Yeah, that one's hard. That was really hard.
Yeah, that gem was not very secretive, if you will. It was kind of just there.
Well, to be fair, you'd have to know that the gem's over there.
Well, if you were collecting all the boxes, I mean, you'd find
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because like, if you don't know what the secret gem is, you're not gonna get the box gem.
Yeah.
So they were just like,
Whereas the nighttime, you actually had to, find
Look
the
for
thing.
And funny enough, okay, so I should mention, but in the Xbox version of this game, jewelry is completely transparent, meaning that clear gems will just straight up blend in with a background behind them, and some of them makes it kind of hard to see. So in nighttime, it's almost like not visible at all because it's like high up and it blends in with the background. In Force of Nature, same thing also happens. But you could say that actually makes them more rewarding to grab because it's like, oh, you finally found the gem, like hiding in the background. Cool. In this, it's like you can clearly see them.
Yeah. I do like though that they gave gems two different models in this game. Like there's the box gem and then the secret non-colored gem. That was a nice little touch. All right.
Oops. Uh-oh. Well,
What happened?
That's okay. I refreshed it a little too early.
Oh.
But yeah, so oh yeah, that's right. So the Solar Bowler in Japanese was called Huge Maze in the Galaxy, which is kind of cool. I like that name.
Oh,
and now we're in Force of Nature. Now this level in Japanese, I believe, is called Playing with a Snowboard.
Oh.
Yeah, that's it. It's just playing with a snow. I mean, it makes sense. It makes more sense than Force of Nature.
Yeah. I mean, they couldn't call it Avalanche again. You definitely do get chased in this level, do you not? I'm not crazy. No? Okay, I'm crazy. Oh, yeah. And Coco can't turn around in this stage.
Yeah, so if I miss a box, it's Sag.
Yeah, and it's at the end of the run, and there's no way to not make this level at the end of the run, right? Like, you just have to live with this level. 111 boxes, and I distinctly remember that there are some jumps that you have to make to get boxes. Like, they're really mean with the box placement in this level as well.
Well, I just passed the hardest one, so it's not really a huge deal now, but every other box after this is basically just like, if you mess up your jump, then rip. Also, you're bad, and also yeah.
Just know where it is, forehead. Don't miss it.
Gem. See, that's the gem on Xbox that like is actually pretty cleverly hidden. Here, it's like you see it, and you're like, oh hey, I'm gonna grab it, and then you grab it.
Yeah, I could see how that being almost clear would be very challenging.
Alright, so the hard part of Force of Nature is out of the way, so now we get to get this free-ass relic, and then we can get out of here.
Dang, there are 71 nitros in that stage? That's insane. Why so many?
Yeah, they kind of ran out of stage hazards to use, so instead of like coming up with any like unique hazards, like, I don't know, speed bumps, trees, that kind of thing, there's nitros.
I mean, with a name like Force of Nature, balls of snow coming down the mountain would have been fine.
Boulders would have been nice, but I don't know how that would work. Maybe they could just have a boulder like chase Coco or something. That's the Force of Nature you're reckoning with? The
don't
name
know.
Force of Nature doesn't exactly make a whole lot of sense, but the Japanese name actually does make sense, which is the funniest part. It's like where the US version drops the ball, the Japanese picks it back up, and vice versa.
Yeah. I guess,
So,
I mean, we could have got it in English as playing with snowboard. So what? What's up?
so this relic is 100% free. So we don't really have a whole lot to talk about here, because I'm just gonna literally be holding down the crouch button this whole time.
Exciting.
Occasionally jumping, but mostly just
Occasional.
holding down crouch.
Uh, in this stage, doesn't every box turn into a time box as well if it's not an Aku Aku?
No.
No? Okay. I could have swore there was a stage in Twalk where pretty much every box turns into one. Nope, you just right there it doesn't. I don't know. I have a, what do you call it? Mandela effect, where you remember one thing or something one way and it's like, no, it's definitely not like that at all. I think that's called Mandela effect. I have that a lot for this game.
I want to say Ice Station Bandicoot also does that, where every box turns into a time crate.
And Ice Station Bandicoot, that's the flying one, right?
That's one we just. That's
Yeah.
the one we did earlier. With, like,
Yeah, we just
Crash on
did
the
it.
Jetpack, snow. Yeah. Rings of Power.
Yeah, no, that one.
Yeah, that one. It was totally that one.
Alright, I got a question for you since we're just running through. How do you mentally prepare yourself for a run like this? This is a 3.5 hours estimate.
I turned my brain off.
You just turn it off and go, and it's over when it's over.
Brain off, controller in hand.
Dang, I respect it though.
Yeah, that's essentially what. I mean, like, for a run as long as this, you really can't overthink it, because when you start overthinking Twalk, it kind of gets into your head a little bit.
Hmm.
Like, you really don't want to overthink a lot of this. I mean, like, yeah, like, there's a lot of things in this game that you really need to try for, like the Eskimo roll, time trial, solar bowler time trial, the Droid Void hole skips.
But for a majority of it, it's just muscle memory and just go.
Essentially, yeah, just muscle memory.
Alright, so we've entered this level first. Is that, again, mask routing, or what's the
Yeah,
point of
because
doing this one first?
you get 3 masks by the end of Cortex Vortex. So it's basically guaranteed by the end of I mean, like, we had 2 masks coming out of it already, or coming into it already. But it's more or less just to get Cortex Vortex out of the way, and also when you get done with it, you have 2 masks at the end.
So, did coming into this level with 2 masks really save anything, or not really, because all the cycles and stuff you still have to deal with?
Not exact. Yeah, it's the cycles mainly. The cycles don't really mesh well with the invincibility.
I can agree with that.
That what I just did right there. That's like time trial only.
Oh, wow. I've not seen that. That's cool.
Yeah, Lennon Plays taught me that one, and it was pretty cool when I saw it the first time.
But yeah, I definitely agree. Going fast and this level's cycles rarely line up with one another. This stage is very rough. But I do like. Oh no! Oh no! Oh, what was that?
I don't know. That was.
Twalk.
At least it wasn't an embed, and you know what an embed is, right? It's when you.
I would you get stuck in a wall, and that's probably that.
Yeah, you get stuck on a wall, and that's it.
I know Spyro has embeds, but Spyro has an auto kill feature if that happens.
Yeah, in Crash, unfortunately, there is no such thing.
Ooh. Yeah.
All right, so Crate Balls of Fire. This is probably the part where I start sweating a little bit, because it's either I get this really hard time trial cycle or I don't. And if I mess it up, I'm going to try to be really quick about it. Because if I die, then those masks are gone, which means I can't do the opening hole skip, hangrail skip. So pray that this goes well.
You have my full support. Oh man, that awkward downtime during loads.
Oh no, I went too fast.
Oh, the little slip. So
yeah,
now you.
that's why I sweat whenever I get here, because like you really gotta move.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's one of the more unfortunate cases where going fast doesn't exactly equal good cycles.
Yeah. Those are the best speedruns, where if you go too fast, you actually lose.
Okay. That did not work out the way I wanted to.
You know, in your defense, playing this game, I could vouch for this level. The intro to this level, it seems super simple, but if you go too fast on this level, whether you're comfortable with it or not, it's so easy to hit a ledge, hit a lip that Crash just decides, no, I'm not walking on that today, and that's that. You fall in and there's no checkpoint until you get to the fireball, pretty much. So it's really unfortunate, but it happens, and it's very easy for it to happen.
Yeah, and unfortunately I missed the cycle here because I went a little bit too fast at the start and I fell off a platform. But it's alright. There's footage of people getting the cycle in this level anyways. I mean, you don't really have to do it. You really lose like about maybe 3 to 4 seconds having to wait for a platform at the end to move, but that's really all it comes down to, is just about 3 to 4 seconds of time save. Plus, you move like super fast through the stage when you do this, so it's basically optimal to do it in the first place. However, again, it's just really, really difficult.
Yeah.
Like, I don't blame people for not going for this because it is absolutely like the peak of like cycle getting.
Yeah,
even when I told Cody about it, I told him like you can probably make this cycle at the end if you just wall boost, and he was like, wait a minute. So he tried it out. Turns out, yes, this cycle at the end, you can only catch it if you wall boost.
Dang.
So this is the only cycle in the entire game where you have to wall boost in order to make it work.
Yeah, these rotating platforms are the worst enemy in the game. They're so bad.
They killed me at the beginning, so yeah, I can vouch for that. Oh well.
It
Not
happens.
really too torn up about that.
Yeah, I mean, twalk things.
I mean, that's probably like one of the worst things that's happened in the entire run so far, so I'm not even too worried about it.
Yeah,
The
this
second
run.
worst thing probably being Solar Bowler.
Yeah, I mean, this run's been pretty great. You've been going all out on so much here. So for only 2 things to have really backfired, this is impressive, mate. I'm into this.
Gorudo Crush.
All right, so we have 3 levels left. Is that correct?
2. And
Well,
then the final boss.
I was including the refight, but yeah. Cool.
So we have Gold Rush, Crash and Burn, and then the final boss, and then that's it. The time will end in the final boss when Crash warps away. So I will count it down when we get there.
Yeah, alright. Once we get there, I'll probably let you take care of commentary, so I got time. I want to be accurate on this, you know?
So Gold Rush is probably one of the coolest time trials in this because, again, the level's very long, so you need to find ways to make it shorter. You can wall boost here. There's a lot of hangrail skips you can do as well. Which, yeah, we're going to be seeing a lot of hangrail skips in this time trial, so get ready for that.
Oh, we're going for them again? Let's go! If you didn't see hangrail skips the first time, get ready, chat. These are amazing.
And these aren't the ones that we were doing before with Crate Balls and Droid Void. These are unique. Because we're skipping every single hangrail.
Yep. And unlike those ones, which were just a death plane you could walk on, this one, there's nothing walkable down there. So if you miss it, it's, yeah. That's 2. That's 3. There's 4, right? Or is it only 3? I think there's 4.
There's actually there's a lot more
Oh, okay.
because the end.
Oh, you're doing the end of the stage too? Oh my lord.
So we're gonna wall boost through the town because there's not really much here.
That one right after the minecart is the scariest one in my opinion. I don't even go for them. That's so risky. Just casual wall boost. Wow, you can really see how fast wall boosting is in this level as well. That's insane. Dang.
0 hangrails.
You are a mad lad. And that's... If this game had developer times, that would have been a developer time relic, right?
I guess. I mean, the relic time exactly wasn't really that good, but
Okay.
I mean, I've gotten like 50 seconds in Gold Rush, like when going for like an actual low relic time. 50 seconds or lower. I think my best time is about 48 seconds. So yeah, it's
Get a load of this. Get a load of this guy, chat. Yeah, it could have been faster. I'm just playing it safe. Guy who skips every hangrail.
No, I'm saying like the time trial time itself versus the actual like speed I've been going. I went for like RTA, you know, as far as the relics is concerned. Cause
An IGT focused like time trial collection on Crash multi-segment probably. That would probably be a crazy run. Or like a task, I don't know. Has someone tasked this game?
no, not yet.
Ooh, not yet. Does that mean there's one in the works or just no? It hasn't been considered yet.
It really hasn't like I don't know. I think there's just difficulty with trying to find like the right tool to be able to use for the task.
Yeah, PS2 tasking is an experience from what I've seen and heard. Plus, this is a long task. There'd be a lot of frames.
Well, it's not like it's not like the longest task ever. I mean,
Oh, of course not. There's a
guy who worked on a about 5-hour and 45-minute crash bash task, and that is a marvel to watch.
Oh, lordy. If they manipulate the RNG in that game, that is great.
They don't exactly. Well, I think they.
I mean, it's a task. They'd have to do it to some extent. I've trust me, I've sped run Crash Bash. I can tell you, there's no way that task is pure reaction based. Crash Bash speedrun
I think
win.
it is. I think it is because in the ballistics levels, pogo state. No, not the pogo state. The ball stages.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I guess
So
you're right.
Those are like pure reaction.
Yeah, they would be. All right, that's the final relic. We're at what? This is 105%. Cortex is the last percent kind of thing.
Actually, no. This is 106.
Oh, so we can just end it now?
No.
No.
See, the thing is that like even though we are at 106%, we still have to beat the final boss and get the true ending. That's how it works. Because that way the game is truly complete, quote unquote.
If only Crunch. I'm sorry. Crunch. If only Crunch was the suggestion.
I like Crunch as a character, I'm not gonna lie.
I like him up until Mind Over Mutant and that series, but we're not going to talk about that today. Alright, so...
More tiptoeing. Yep, fun.
Let's go. It's a fun fight. Now that I know you could just stand on those railings in the back, I wish they would have changed it up instead of making it literally the exact same thing.
Yeah, but Cortex in Crash 3 didn't do that.
I agree, yeah, they didn't do it there either. Big sad. Alright, that's 2 hits.
2 out of 4. Just gonna tiptoe in place.
The fact that even just tiptoeing is enough to dodge the explosive, or the earth balls is great.
Yeah, when I figured that out, believe it or not, people started calling it the Hooper strats. Because it just works. Like, you're not putting yourself in any risk, and you can react to the other fireballs like this. Yeah, I'm just gonna walk into a laser, no problem.
How much time does a death on this save if you're on the fourth, or lose if you're on the 4th hit?
So this, you lose about 2 minutes.
Yeah. Definitely don't die. God, that'd be a bad commentator's curse.
Okay, I missed the shot, but whatever, it's over. So
All right.
get ready for time.
Yep.
After I land the final hit and then Crash works away, that'll be it.
Just let me know.
Okay, and... time.
GG, congrats. Final time on the boards, 3 hours, 12 minutes, and 55 seconds.
That might be a PB. I'm not exactly sure. I'm gonna have to retime that. But that's pretty good.
Yeah. With the one exception of your capture card reset a little early, yeah, I mean, that was pretty good. Quality run. So that should be good footage for you. Congrats on the possible PB, mate. And congrats on the run.
Thank you.
Any final words or shout-outs you'd like to give?
Yeah, I'm just gonna shout out the entire Crash speedrunning community for being here and supporting me, because it's kind of nice. It's very, very nice that everyone's coming out here to support me during a marathon. It's just very cool. And of course, like, we all, so as much as Twalk is kind of a meme in the Crash speedrunning community, I just want to say that, like, the game, it's not bad. It's just, you gotta really get used to it. And some people, they don't want to do that. It's fine. That's their opinion and all. And for those who do like it, we relate a lot to the jank and stuff that can happen in this game. And it's very, very... you could say that Twalk kind of unifies us all as a Crash game. Maybe not so much as the OG games, but in a weird way, it all comes back to this game. So, in this ending cutscene, I know they're speaking Japanese, so you can't really understand what they're saying. But, I mean, just judging from what's happening, you can sort of infer what's going on. Essentially, Crunch joins their gang, and they live happily ever after. Cortex and Uka Uka are stranded on an iceberg, which sets up for a crash to insanity.
That it does. I loved loading into Twins and seeing, oh, so that's what happened. Anyway, GG's again, mate. Let's get this show on the road. Thank you so much for your 3.5 hour run. Super glad to have you here. And yeah, thanks again, McHooper. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks to the staff here for letting me run this game. It's not a Metal Gear game, very unlike it, but
it is 20 years old.
Yep.
In fact, 20 years recently. So shout outs to that. All right, guys, let's get this show on the road. I'm going to be signing off for the night. Up on deck, we have a run of Metal Gear Solid 2 by Platonic Guy. It's going to be boss survival with Ed on comms. So look forward to that. And I will see you guys in chat. Have a good marathon.